Hello there, friend. I'm glad you found your way here. Maybe the day behind you felt long, or maybe it vanished before you could notice it slipping past. Either way, you've arrived in a quiet moment, and that's enough. Take a breath, slow and unhurried. Notice the space between the inhale and the exhale. That pause right there is time in its softest form. Not the numbers glowing on a clock, but a silent current moving through you. Tonight, we'll drift together along that current. You don't need to paddle or chase or measure. You only need to float. Imagine time as a wide, slow river. Its surface catches the light of distant stars and carries reflections of everything that has ever been. Somewhere upstream, yesterday is dissolving. Far downstream, tomorrow is waiting to be born. Around you, the present ripples in endless circles, touching both edges at once. The river has no beginning that we can see and no clear ending that we can reach. It bends behind fog and horizon, quiet and eternal. Listen closely. You might sense the faint sound of it moving, a whisper rather than a rush, like breath, across still water. Every life floats on this river. The pulse in your wrist, the blink of your eyes, the rhythm of your thoughts. Each is a small boat rocking with the same tide. When you rest, the river does not stop. It only grows calmer, carrying you in its arms. Think of how the world feels when you watch the sunset. Light softens, shadows lengthen. Even the air slows down. That, too, is the river reminding you that motion and rest are part of the same flow. Day slides gently into night, not with an abrupt edge, but with colors melting together. Orange, rose, then deep blue. Time isn't something that takes from you. It's something that changes shape so you can dream within it. If you close your eyes now, you may see small scenes drifting by, a clock face, a leaf on water, stars turning over the horizon. Let them pass. Each is simply another reflection on the river's surface. None need to be held. There's no destination tonight, no schedule waiting beyond this moment. Only the steady, tranquil motion of time itself, unfolding like a long, slow breath. As we float, you might notice how the sounds around you begin to fade. The soft hum of the room, a distant car, the faint rustle of fabric, they settle into the same rhythm. Even the silence seems to move. Somewhere far above, galaxies drift through their own vast currents, spinning in spirals that echo the same pattern as this tiny human heartbeat. The universe has always known how to keep time, even before we named the hours. And here you are, part of that same rhythm, resting within its infinite pulse. So let the day loosen its hold. Let the edges of thought dissolve like mist. You are safe on the water. The river will carry you exactly where you need to go. Not forward, not backward, but deeper into peace. When you're ready, we'll begin to explore what time truly is, how it began, how it bends, and how it holds the entire universe in motion. But for now, simply breathe and float. The river is already moving, and you are already part of it. Have you ever noticed how time changes its shape depending on how you feel? There are moments that seem to vanish, and others that stretch so wide you could almost walk around inside them. A single joyful afternoon might flicker away in a heartbeat, but a sleepless night, or the minutes before a goodbye, can feel as long as a year. The truth is, time itself does not hurry or slow. It moves steadily, softly, with no concern for how we count it. What changes is us, the watcher of the clock, the keeper of moments. Our minds bend time, the way sunlight bends through glass. Think about a candle burning in a dark room. The flame seems still, but look closely, and you'll see that it's trembling, rising and folding back into itself, changing every second. You could stare for what feels like a long time, and yet when you glance at the clock, only a minute has passed. Or perhaps it's the other way around. You close your eyes for a short rest, and when you open them again, the hour has already slipped away. It's strange, isn't it? How we measure time with numbers and yet time feel it in waves. When the heart is calm, time spreads out like a quiet lake. When the mind races, the surface ripples, distorting the reflection. But beneath it all, the water is the same. Time is always still at its depths. There's comfort in that thought, that you don't need to chase time or control it. You only need to find the stillness where minutes lose their edges. Close your eyes for a moment and notice your breathing again. Inhale and exhale. If you listen carefully, each breath has its own rhythm. its own small eternity between beginning and end. Some say that when you are fully present, time disappears. A musician lost in a song, a child tracing clouds, a traveler watching rain slide down a window. In those moments, the seconds dissolve, leaving only the feeling of being. That's what this moment can be for you too. A soft pause between what was and what will be. You don't need to think about the minutes passing as you listen. Let them stretch, fold, and vanish as they wish. Let time become texture, not number, a smooth current under your thoughts. Soon, we'll drift deeper to where the body keeps its own quiet clock, a rhythm written into every heartbeat, every cell, every sleeping breath. For now, just stay here in the illusion of minutes, where time doesn't demand attention, where everything is slow enough to notice, and nothing needs to be measured. If you rest your hand over your chest, you can feel a small, steady pulse. It has been ticking since before you were born, keeping perfect time without any clock to guide it. Each beat marks a tiny now, a rhythm older than thought, older even than your memories. Between every pulse there is a silence, a soft pocket where the body pauses before beginning again. That pulse is your body's clock, not the kind that measures minutes or hours, but the one that reminds you that you are alive in this precise breath. In this quiet moment inside you, countless other clocks are turning. Your lungs move in slow cycles, drawing in the world and letting it go again. Your cells divide according to patterns written billions of years ago. Even while you sleep, your inner universe keeps perfect rhythm, as if each molecule knows its place in the grand orchestra of time. Think of your heartbeat as the smallest echo of the universe's first vibration. When the cosmos was young, its energy pulsed outward in waves of light and heat. That same rhythm hums through every atom of you. You are, in a quiet and literal way, made of time that learned to feel itself. When you're anxious, have you noticed how the heart speeds up, as if trying to outrun the minutes? And when you rest, how it slows, folding you back into gentleness. Your body is not bound to the mechanical ticking of clocks. It moves with mood, with moonlight, with breath. Every creature does. A bird's heart quickens with sunrise. A whale's heart slows as it dives through dark water. Even the trees breathe in seasons. All of us keep time in our own quiet language. So let your own pulse set the pace tonight. Let it be the metronome for your thoughts, a low and constant drum beneath everything else. You don't need to force it, only to notice that it's there. Faithful, calm, unhurried. Somewhere far away, stars flare and fade, galaxies spin, and yet inside this single heartbeat, the same law of rhythm is at work. The universe keeps time through you. Stay with that feeling for a moment. A quiet recognition that you are both the clock and the moment it measures, the pulse and the pause between pulses. When you're ready, we'll drift a little farther downstream to where time itself becomes a companion rather than a chase. A gentle friend walking beside you as the night unfolds. For most of our waking hours, we try to catch time. We measure it, schedule it, guard it, and spend it, as though it were a coin slipping through our fingers. But the more tightly we hold it, the faster it seems to run away. What if time was never meant to be chased? What if it's been walking beside you all along, patiently matching your stride? Imagine time not as a line to be followed, but as a gentle companion on a winding trail. Sometimes it moves ahead, clearing a path. Sometimes it lingers, letting you rest in the shade. It doesn't scold when you stop to breathe. It simply waits, carrying the sunlight that filters through the trees and the cool breeze that stirs the leaves above. There is a kind of peace in realizing that every moment you thought you lost was only waiting for you to notice it. Moments don't vanish. They soften, folding quietly into memory, becoming part of the soil you walk upon. Think of a long train journey. Through the window, the scenery changes, fields, towns, glimmers of light on water, and yet the train moves at its own steady rhythm. You can stare at the horizon or close your eyes. Either way, you're still carried forward. Time works like that. Even when you do nothing, it moves you gently through its landscape. Our culture teaches us to race the clock, to count hours like steps on a staircase to somewhere better. But time is not a ladder, it's an ocean. You float upon it, sometimes near bright shores, sometimes in quiet depths. You cannot hurry the tide, you can only learn to drift with grace. If you listen closely, you might notice how life itself slows down when you stop running after it. Birdsong seems longer, light through the curtain seems thicker. The taste of a sip of water expands into something endless. That's not magic. It's simply the body catching up to the rhythm that was always here. Take another slow breath. Feel how the air enters easily, as though the room itself were helping you breathe. Let the exhale last a little longer than the inhale. That's the rhythm of trust, a small surrender to the companion that is time. Think about the people you've known. Some are still with you. Others now live only in memory. But if you recall them, if their laughter stirs somewhere inside you, then they are still traveling in your company. Time does not separate you. It simply changes the view. There's a quiet kindness in that. A reminder that the past isn't gone and the future isn't waiting behind a locked door. They both exist in this same gentle walk beside you, woven into the step you're taking right now. Let go of the feeling that you must hurry. There is nowhere else to be tonight. Every sound, every heartbeat, every slow drift of thought belongs exactly where it is. As you listen, imagine time turning its face toward you, not a ticking clock, but a friend with calm eyes and an endless patience. You don't need to speak. It already understands. It knows you've done enough for one day. Together you continue along the path, footsteps fading into the hush of dusk. Each step is another breath, each breath another minute dissolving softly behind you. There's no finish line ahead, only a widening quiet, the comfort of companionship that asks for nothing. Soon this path will open out into starlight, and we'll glimpse where time itself began. The first flicker, the first motion, the universe waking from silence. But not yet. For now, just walk beside it. Time is here, and it's in no hurry. Before there were clocks, before there were stars, before there was even light, there was silence. Not the silence of a room or a night sky, but a silence so complete that even the idea of sound had not yet been born. Then, so gently you might almost miss it, something stirred. A shimmer smaller than imagination itself unfolded within that silence. It was the first change, the first before and after. And with that, TC time began. Physicists call it the birth of the universe. Poets might call it the first breath. In truth, it may have been both. An instant so brief that it cannot be measured, yet so profound that everything you will ever know grew out of it. Picture a vast darkness, thinner than thought. Then imagine it glowing, not in a flash, but in a slow blossoming of light. Space stretched like a sheet being unfolded in the morning. Every point drifted away from every other, each carrying its own seed of time, each pulsing with the same newborn rhythm. If you could have been there, if there had meaning, you would not have heard a bang. You would have felt a soft expansion, a cosmic exhale that has never ended. Even now, billions of years later, that first breath still moves through everything, through the stars that burn, through the atoms in your skin, through the quiet in this room. Time did not rush forward, it unfolded. Moments stretched, cooled, and settled. From that settling came patterns, from patterns came matter, and from matter came us. Small observers floating in the echo of the universe's first tick. Somewhere in the depths of that ancient light are the blueprints of everything we see. Galaxies curled into spirals, suns ignited, worlds condensed from dust. Each was a rhythm within the greater rhythm, a verse within the poem of time itself. You might wonder how such a vast story could come from something so still. But that's how time often begins, quietly. A seed breaks open beneath soil. A child takes a first breath. A single heartbeat becomes the start of a life. The universe was no different, only larger, slower, and infinitely patient. Take a moment to feel that patience. Let your breathing fall into its own steady pattern, and imagine that every inhale is part of that first expansion, every exhale part of the cooling that followed. You are breathing the same rhythm that once filled the newborn universe with light. When we speak of the beginning, we are really describing a transformation from potential to movement, from stillness to story. And though that moment lies nearly 14 billion years behind us, its motion never stopped. It carries you now just as surely as it carries the stars. So when you think of time, don't think only of clocks and calendars. Think of this endless unfolding, this gentle stretching of space that began with one quiet pulse. Everything you've ever loved, every thought and breath, rides on that same invisible tide. As you drift toward rest, imagine yourself floating back through that history, past the centuries and eons, past the birth of the earth and the first dawns of stars, until all that remains is warmth and that faint, steady rhythm beneath it all. The first tick of the universe has never stopped ticking. It continues now inside you in the heartbeat you felt earlier, in the breath you are taking at this very moment. And as the sound fades, you can let go of wondering when it all began. Because in a way, it is still beginning with every heartbeat, every star that shines, and every quiet listener floating on the river of time. Close your eyes for a moment and picture nothing, not darkness, because darkness is still the absence of light, and light implies space for it to travel through. Not silence, because silence is the pause between sounds. What I mean is windy forroy, all of that, a quiet beyond even quiet. There were no seconds to count, no before or after, no heartbeat against which to measure waiting. It was a stillness that never noticed itself, a sheet of potential folded endlessly upon itself. Physicists sometimes call this state feel, the vacuum, but that word feels too tidy. It was more like the hum that a thought might make before the mind has decided to think it. Then, from that immeasurable calm, possibility wavered. A tiny imbalance, an imperfection smaller than imagination, shivered across the void, and in that trembling difference was born. Where there is difference, there can be change, and where change begins. 19:2 We might think of it as a dawn without a sun. No rays breaking a horizon, only the first glimmer of something becoming aware of else. It wasn't a sound or a spark, but a turning of potential into motion, the first motion ever to be. If you listen closely now, you may feel a faint echo of that event somewhere behind your breath. Every rise and fall of your chest is a microcosm of that first unfolding. Stillness, motion, stillness again. The universe never truly stopped breathing after that. As the first energies bloomed, space stretched in every direction at once, like the slow opening of a vast invisible flower. From its center, light and matter began to coalesce, delicate as morning mist forming on an unseen field. Time poured into those newborn spaces, filling them like water finds the shape of its cup. This was not a sudden creation, but an awakening. The universe did not leap from nothing into everything. It stirred, it expanded, it when remembered itself into being. Imagine standing at the edge of a lake just before sunrise. The air is cool, the surface perfectly still. Then a faint color touches the water, not yet light, but the promise of it. That promise is what the first moment of time must have been, a prelude glowing softly inside eternity. Even now, as we measure centuries and epochs, we are tracing that first faint line across the surface of the lake. Every second that passes is a ripple from that ancient awakening. It moves through galaxies, through atoms, through you, so quietly you could miss it if you tried. So when you hear the word fiddy beginning, we don't, a violent explosion. Imagine a sigh, the long exhale of a universe opening its eyes for the first time. We are still inside that breath, still being carried outward by it. And as you rest here, listening to your own slow breathing, you are sharing in that same unfolding. The timeless awareness that once turned silence into song. In the very first second after that silent awakening, the universe was small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. Not a place of stars or shapes yet, but a warm, luminous fog where time and space were still learning how to move. Imagine standing inside a sunrise, except the light is everywhere at once. There is no sky to contain it, no ground to reflect it. Only brightness folding within brightness, soft and immeasurable. That was the universe in its first heartbeat, a pulse of creation expanding through absolute calm. In less than a trillionth of a second, space stretched faster than any motion we can comprehend. What had been smaller than an atom became larger than entire galaxies, would one day be. It wasn't chaos, it was grace at unimaginable speed. A slow motion so vast that our words can only stumble around it. Temperatures soared beyond numbers, and yet, if you could somehow drift there, it would not feel like heat or flame. It would feel like pure energy, a light with no color, a vibration without edge. Within that first second, the building blocks of everything began to appear. Tiny particles danced into existence. Protons, neutrons, electrons, forming and vanishing in a rhythm too fast for thought. Each flicker was a note in a cosmic song that would one day become matter, stars, planets, and the quiet heartbeat you can feel within your chest right now. The universe, still a child of light, began to cool just enough for patterns to take hold. Energy turned into matter, matter into atoms, and atoms into whispers of form. Hydrogen, helium, the first simple elements, fragile and newborn, floated in vast seas of expanding light. If you could watch it unfold from a safe distance, you wouldn't see explosions or noise. You would see ripples. Concentric circles moving outward like a stone dropped into a boundless, invisible pond. Each ripple was a future, a galaxy waiting to be born. Time during that first second did not tick the way our clocks do now. It flowed differently. Thicker, slower, more like honey than water. Moments stretched and merged into one another, and then slowly they began to find rhythm. The rhythm of decay and creation, particles finding balance, matter and energy trading places in a perfect, endless conversation. This was the first order, the beginning of sequence, of cause and effect, of before and after. It was the moment when the universe learned that it could remember itself, and so it did. When we look up at the night sky, the light from distant galaxies is still carrying messages from that first second. It travels across billions of years just to reach your eyes. You are literally seeing the past, illuminated across time's wide river. Perhaps that's why starlight feels so comforting. It's memory made visible. The glow above you is the universe, still whispering its origin story. Let that sink in for a moment. Every sparkle, every faint shimmer overhead is older than every mountain, older than the earth, older than the idea of age itself. And yet, here you are, breathing beneath it, made of the same light that began in that single, timeless second. In the quiet of night, when your thoughts slow down and the world falls into stillness, you can almost sense it, that first warmth still humming in the dark. A gentle background glow, the afterlight of the universe's earliest breath. It isn't gone, it's everywhere, woven into the air around you, into the atoms in your hands, into the light that touches your eyelids. It has no beginning and no end, just transformation. Energy to matter, matter to life, life to awareness. And now, in this moment, awareness looks back upon itself and smiles, because the story of the first second is not something that happened long ago. It is still happening. Every second you live is built upon that first one. Each breath repeats its pattern: creation, expansion, pause, renewal. The universe has never stopped beginning. It begins again in you quietly, endlessly, beautifully. Every moment since that first shimmer of creation, the universe has been growing, not outward into empty space, but in all directions at once, space itself, space itself. What is stretching when you hear that galaxies are drifting apart? It isn't because they are sailing through a cosmic ocean. It's because the ocean itself is widening between them. The very fabric of existence, the weave of distance and duration, is slowly, quietly expanding. Imagine a soft balloon being inflated, not with air, but with possibility. Every point on its surface moves away from every other, yet no point is at the center. Wherever you stand, it seems to expand from you. That is how time behaves. It flows outward everywhere like ripples, spreading from every particle that ever existed. In that expansion, time and space are not two things. They are one continuous fabric, folding, stretching, and curving together. Einstein called it Spacetime, but to imagine it more gently, picture a great, slow wave rolling through eternity, carrying galaxies as small flecks upon its surface. You are floating on that wave too. The atoms of your body ride the same expansion as distant stars. Even the seconds you feel passing are part of that widening rhythm. Time does not just move forward, it swells, it bends, it flows around gravity and thought alike. Think of a drop of ink spreading through clear water. It doesn't rush, it drifts, curls, unfolds. The edges blur until the whole glass holds a faint, beautiful hue. That is how time fills space, not with force, but with gentle persistence. Galaxies are the marks left behind by those currents. Clusters, spirals, threads of light are patterns drawn upon a stretching canvas. And somewhere in that slow dance, our tiny planet spins, keeping perfect balance in a motion too vast to truly see. Even the night sky you look at is a kind of time map. The farther your gaze travels, the further back you are looking. Every light in the dark is an older and older chapter of the same story. Space is the shape of time made visible. Pause for a moment and breathe. Inhale and picture the universe swelling, not rushing, but unfurling like a flower at dawn. Exhale and imagine the fabric relaxing, settling softly around stars and worlds. That's the pattern it has followed since the beginning: expansion and rest, motion and stillness. forever balancing each other. If you could ride one of those cosmic waves, you would never feel it move. Everything around you would drift in slow harmony. You would only sense that the distances between things are growing quietly, like the spaces between thoughts as you begin to fall asleep. And maybe that is what time truly is, the distance between one breath and the next, between one heartbeat and another, between one galaxy's pulse and its echo across the void. Every breath you take is a small mirror of that expansion. You draw in the universe and you give it back again. There is no separation between the air in your lungs and the vastness between stars. It's all part of the same field, the same slow unfolding of space and time. So, when you think about the past and wonder where it went or worry about the future, remember this: it's all still here, woven into the fabric of the same expanding moment. The universe does not leave its history behind. It carries it forward, stretching it gently into the present. And as you lie here now, resting in its motion, you are part of that very expansion, a tiny ripple in the great, slow breath of time. If you've ever stood at the edge of the sea at night, you felt it, the rhythm of something larger than yourself. The tide pulls in, and then it slips away again, a slow breathing that never truly stops. The universe moves in much the same way. It has its own pulse, a long, patient rhythm of expansion and rest, stretching across billions of years. It is not a heartbeat you can hear, but if you listen in the quiet between your own, you might sense its faint echo. Cosmologists call it cosmic expansion. You might call it the world's slow inhale. Right now, as you listen, space is widening all around you. The distance between galaxies grows by the width of a few atoms every second. It's so delicate that we don't notice. And yet, across vast distances, it becomes a grand, slow symphony of motion. Every star, every planet, every breath is part of that universal rhythm. The cosmos expands, and with it, time itself stretches softly outward, like a fabric being tugged by invisible hands. Someday, perhaps unimaginably far from now, that motion may pause. It may rest, and then, like a deep exhale, begin to fold inward again. Some scientists imagine a future where the universe will contract, drawing all of space back toward its beginning. Others believe it will go on expanding forever, thinner and quieter with every passing eon. Either way, the rhythm remains, a pulse written into the laws of existence. It helps to think of it not as an end or a beginning, but as a heartbeat. You are living within one slow thump of the universe's heart, a single expansion that began almost 14 billion years ago. We exist inside that pulse, like waves caught in mid-crest, still rising, still drifting outward. Inhale slowly and feel how your body mimics that same motion. Your chest expands, the air stretches gently into your lungs, and then you release it again. In that act, you have recreated the rhythm of the cosmos. You and it are not separate. You are a smaller echo of the same motion, a quieter note in the same ancient song. Long ago, the universe's expansion was faster, more energetic, like the quick breathing of a newborn. Now it has slowed, settling into a mature, graceful pace. It grows but calmly. Galaxies drift apart without collision. Clusters glide through dark space in quiet elegance. The chaos of birth has become the stillness of endurance. And still, within that slow motion, there are pulses layered inside pulses. Stars flare, fade, and flare again. Planets orbit their suns. Moons pull at oceans. Hearts beat. The same rhythm threads through everything. Fast here, slow there. If you could listen with ears large enough, you might hear it as a cosmic hum, a background sound that fills all of space. Radio telescopes catch hints of it, a faint, ancient murmur, the residue of creation still vibrating through the void. To us it's silence, but to the universe it's a lullaby. You are hearing it too, in a way that doesn't require sound. It's in the way your pulse finds a natural calm when you stop to breathe. It's in the rhythm of your thoughts, slowing down to match the pace of your body. Every living thing syncs sooner or later with the heartbeat of the greater whole. Sometimes when people gaze at the stars, they say they feel small, but that smallness is not insignificance. It's connection. It's realizing that the same slow pulse that moves galaxies also moves the blood through your veins. You are not standing under the universe. You are soothed within it. You are one note inside its endless vibration, a shimmer in its ongoing breath. If you've ever listened to music so soft, it almost disappears. You know that stillness can be sound. That is what the universe's pulse feels like, a vibration so large that it becomes invisible to the senses, but perceptible to the soul. As you lie here now, let yourself fall into that rhythm. Don't count the beats, feel them. There is no rush, no beginning to catch, no ending to fear. Only the steady, endless pulse of existence carrying you forward, moment by moment, like a current that never falters. The universe inhales, and you breathe in. The universe exhales, and you breathe out. For this brief, quiet time, you and it move together, one rhythm, one heartbeat, one infinite, peaceful motion. Light has always been our storyteller. It carries the news of everything that has ever happened, moving endlessly across the deep, weaving the past into the present. When you look up at the night sky, you are not just seeing stars. You are seeing Fuentine itself, tiny messages sent long before you were born, traveling patiently through the dark, so they could arrive here in this moment, to find your eyes waiting. The beam from a nearby star may have begun its journey before the first humans learned to draw on cave walls. The soft glow from a distant galaxy might have set out when the Earth was still molten stone. Light never hurries, but it never stops. It simply travels, a messenger that never forgets where it came from. Each photon, a grain of light, is a tiny courier of history. It leaves a star, crosses the emptiness between galaxies, and sometimes drifts for billions of years before brushing against a world like ours. In that instant, it completes its purpose, to tell us that the universe is still speaking. We measure those distances in light years, not to make them sound larger, but because no other unit feels as gentle, as human. 1 light year is the distance light travels in a year, a thread of memory 12 trillion kilometers long. Every spark you see above you is connected to you by one of those invisible threads. You are sitting beneath a vast loom of light, each strand shimmering with stories. If you could follow one beam backward, you would move through centuries and eons, past the formation of galaxies, past the cooling of the first stars, back to that first second when the universe began to glow. The afterlight of that birth still lingers everywhere. Astronomers call it the Fun cosmic background radiation. You might think of it instead as the universe's memory, a soft echo of its first warmth, still whispering through every corner of space. That glow is so faint that you cannot see it with your eyes. But radio telescopes can hear it, like the hum of a lullaby carried across unimaginable distance. It is the oldest light in existence, a photograph of the universe as an infant, still wrapped in warmth, still learning to cool into structure. Every star that has ever shone has added its own note to that light. Every planet that has reflected sunlight has sent back a shimmer of its own. Even Earth glows faintly in space, a soft blue lantern among billions, turning slowly, whispering its presence into the dark. If you could see all wavelengths of light at once, the invisible rays, the infrared warmth, the radio waves, the ultraviolet glints, you would discover that the cosmos is bright beyond imagining. The night sky only seems so dark because our eyes are tuned to such a narrow band. In truth, the universe is glowing, singing quietly in colors we cannot hear, and within that song, each beam of light keeps time. As it travels, it ages. The farther it moves, the redder it becomes, its wavelength stretching with the expanding fabric of space. That slow reddening is the universe's way of marking the passage of its own days. Just as a sunset deepens from gold to crimson, starlight, too, carries the signature of age. When scientists study that color shift, they are not only measuring distance, they are reading history, the diary of the cosmos written in shades of light. But you don't need instruments to feel it. You can feel it now through the gentle illumination around you, the lamplight, the moonlight, even the faint reflection of your screen. All of it is part of the same ancient cascade. Every beam, no matter how small, has been traveling since time began, bouncing from atom to atom, star to star, until it found its way here, to rest softly against you. So as you listen, imagine those beams arriving, from distant suns, from nebulae folding in slow motion, from galaxies so far away that their light began its voyage before the Earth was born. Each photon touches you only once, but its story is as old as existence itself. Let that thought settle over you like a warm blanket. You are wrapped in light that has been traveling toward you since the dawn of time. It threads through your window, glances off your skin, and continues on its journey, carrying a tiny reflection of Finyu back into the vastness. The universe and the observer exchange light endlessly, a quiet conversation between origin and awareness. In a way, every glance upward is the cosmos looking back at itself. If you rest now, eyes closed, you can imagine that soft exchange continuing, light flowing outward, light flowing inward, each beam marking another heartbeat in the long, slow pulse of creation. There is no rush in its travel, no urgency in its message, only patience, only love disguised as motion. The stars will keep sending their stories. The galaxies will keep glowing. And long after this night passes, the light that touched you will keep moving through space, carrying with it the quiet memory of a listener who once paused to notice. All across the universe, time is marked not by numbers or gears, but by light. Every star you see, every spark glimmering against the dark, is a clock, a vast, living timepiece that measures its existence in radiant breaths. Some stars tick quickly, flaring with intensity and vanishing within a few million years. Others move so slowly that they seem almost frozen, glowing with steady patience for billions of years. Together they form the rhythm of the cosmos, a pulse so wide that human lifetimes barely register as moments within it. If you could listen to the stars, you would hear patterns, the deep hum of rotation, the soft metronome of orbits, the subtle beats of fusion inside their hearts. Each pattern tells a story of age, motion, and change. Stars do not need hands or faces to keep time. They simply burn, and in burning, they count the years. At the core of every star, atoms collide in endless dance. Hydrogen becomes helium, light becomes warmth, and each fusion reaction is a tick of the universal clock. Over countless centuries, those reactions slow. The star ages, its rhythm lengthening like the breath of an old traveler. When it finally fades, it leaves behind a whisper of itself, a white dwarf, a neutron star, or a cloud of glowing dust, marking the moment of its last pulse. Some of the most precise clocks in the universe are the remnants of stars. When a massive star collapses into a neutron star, it becomes smaller than a city, but denser than imagination can bear. It spins hundreds of times per second, sending out radio waves in perfect intervals, tick, tick, so consistent that astronomers use them to measure cosmic distances and the passing of years. We call them swin pulsars, and they are the heartbeat of dead stars that somehow continue to keep time. Imagine that, a star that once shone brightly, now no bigger than a mountain, still marking seconds across the galaxy, its rhythm steady as a lullaby. Even in death, it refuses to stop keeping time. You and I will never hear those pulses directly, but the universe does. They travel across space like ripples on a pond, each wave a gentle reminder that somewhere, something is still turning, still glowing, still alive in the quiet dark. And while these cosmic clocks keep their steady beat, our own planet follows its smaller rhythm, spinning once every 24 hours, tilting and orbiting the sun, counting out the days and seasons that cradle our lives. Every sunrise and sunset, every phase of the moon, every tide washing against the shore is a reflection of this larger rhythm, a mirror of the cosmic tick, echoed on a human scale. It's easy to think of time as a human invention, a thing we made to manage our days. But here, among the stars, we see that time existed long before us. It lives in motion, in the spin of galaxies, in the pulse of dying suns, in the gentle drift of light that crosses the void. You are surrounded by clocks that do not need winding, that never sleep, that count their moments in brilliance. Their ticking may be slow beyond comprehension, but it's real, a steady tempo in which everything else unfolds. Tonight, if you glance toward the sky, try to feel that rhythm. The stars are ticking softly, marking time not in seconds, but in starlight. And for one brief moment, you are part of their measure, a single beat in the music of the infinite. The Earth is not just spinning on its axis, nor is it merely orbiting the sun. The entire solar system is moving, drifting slowly but steadily through the heart of the Milky Way. Imagine, for a moment, that you're rewatching from above, far beyond our world, above the stars themselves. From this distance you could see the sun's journey as it orbits the galactic center, a graceful spiral dance that takes it around the Milky Way once every 225 million years. Yes, that, Our solar system doesn't just circle the sun, it orbits the galaxy. This immense orbit, called a galactic year, is longer than any human measure of time. It stretches across epochs, a cycle so slow that even the rise and fall of continents happens in the blink of an eye compared to it. To give you a sense of how slow this motion is, imagine that every time you look at the stars, you are seeing the Milky Way from a different angle. The stars you see today were not in the same part of the sky when the dinosaurs roamed, nor will they be in the same place when future humans look up. Our sun, along with every planet, is constantly shifting through the grand wheel of the galaxy, moving at a speed of over 800,000 kilometers per hour. Yet despite this incredible speed, the vastness of the Milky Way is so great that it still takes 225 million years to complete one lap. And we've only gone around the galaxy about 20 times since the solar system first formed. If you could pause and imagine that journey, you would see the sun moving through quiet stretches of space, drifting through clusters of stars, and passing through nebulae where new stars are born. Every passage marks a new chapter in the galaxy's long history. Some of these passages bring the solar system closer to the galactic center, where gravitational forces tug and pull on the stars. Other times, it travels through the outer, quieter parts of the galaxy, where little changes, a gentle, serene motion through space. This orbit is not just an abstract idea, it is a real physical journey, slowly weaving the fabric of time into the cosmic tapestry. As the sun moves through the galaxy, it crosses through different regions, each with its own story, its own dust and gas and cosmic particles. It is part of a journey that connects everything, from the birth of stars to the end of worlds. The path of the solar system, this galactic journey, affects everything within it, even our experience of time here on Earth. The Earth itself, with its seasons and its years, moves with the sun. Yet both are carried through the vast arms of the Milky Way, moving together as one steady rhythm. Now take a slow breath and imagine that you are riding along with the sun, drifting through space at unimaginable speeds, yet feeling no sense of hurry. You don't feel the motion, only the steady passage of time, measured not in minutes or days, but in cosmic terms. Everything moves forward, just like the gentle tide of an ocean, unseen but constant. The slow motion of our galaxy, the long, steady pulse of the sun's orbit, reminds us that time is not always a race. It stretches and bends with the rhythm of the cosmos. The universe itself is in no rush. Every star, every planet, drifts gently along its path, measuring the dance of existence in silent, graceful movements. And in this great journey, you are not just an observer, you are part of it. The light you see tonight, the stars that fill the sky, are all part of the same cosmic rhythm. Every beat, every motion is connected to you in ways deeper than we can measure. As we rest here, floating through our own small corner of space, we are still moving forward, not just through the day and night, but through the grand, endless spiral of the Milky Way. Feel that rhythm as you breathe, gentle and slow, knowing that with each exhale, the universe is moving with you. In the same way that the sun travels its path and stars move across the sky, so too does your own journey, marked by breaths, moments, and quiet transitions. You are not separate from the motion of the cosmos. You are part of it. In every heartbeat, in every thought, you carry the rhythm of the universe in your own small, steady dance. If you journey far enough from the Earth beyond the pale blue light that bathes our world, you will find moons that feel frozen in time. Not frozen like ice on a cold night, but still quiet like time itself has slowed its pulse. Take the moon Europa, one of Jupiter's distant children, hidden beneath layers of thick ice. Underneath that frozen crust, it is believed that an ocean stirs, an ocean as vast as all the waters of Earth. But it moves so slowly, so gently, that no wave ever breaks. Imagine that. An ocean without a single ripple, without a crashing tide, moving in perfect stillness. Its rhythm measured only in the quiet rise and fall of temperature, the faintest tremors of deep space motion. Here, time is measured in eons, not minutes, and even the most ancient of rhythms are too small for us to notice. Time doesn't rush here. It unfolds quietly, like snow falling onto a frozen lake. Each moment gently layers upon the last, one quiet second draping softly over the next. There are no seasons, no sunsets, just a slow, eternal whisper beneath the ice. The same is true for Titan, Saturn's largest moon, where thick clouds swirl in a dance of their own. Titan has rivers, lakes, and seas, but they are not made of water. Instead, they are filled with liquid methane and ethane, moving in their own gentle flow, still and constant, like a clock whose hands have stopped, waiting for the next beat. Though Titan's landscape may seem harsh, it too has a rhythm, a quiet hum beneath the surface, echoing through its atmosphere. Even here, far from the warmth of the sun, time moves in patterns of steady expansion and stillness. It may be a colder rhythm, but it's no less part of the cosmic dance. And what about Pluto, the dwarf planet distant and removed from the light we see every day? Its orbit is long. It takes 248 years to complete just one trip around the sun. Think of the patience in that journey. Pluto moves so slowly that we barely notice it shifting from one point to another. Yet, in that stillness, time stretches out like a long, soft thread, holding Pluto in its steady embrace, year after year, century after century. As you listen now, take a deep, slow breath and imagine you are floating in that vast, quiet space, not on Earth, but far away, drifting beneath the ice of distant moons. The movement of time feels different here, as though the very air around you is softening the flow. There is no rush. There is no pressure. The universe has all the time in the world, and so do you. This is the kind of time that feels eternal, not because it is endless, but because it has no need for hurry. It moves at its own pace, never faster than necessary, never slower than it needs to be. It is as peaceful as the stars themselves, as quiet as the moon's reflection. Imagine that time is not something to be chased, but something to be felt, in the slow rhythm of a distant world. Perhaps there is something to learn here, in these silent rhythms. That time is not just measured in seconds, but in moments of stillness, in pauses between breaths, in the spaces between the stars. As you listen, feel the gentle motion beneath you, the same pulse that moves the planets, the same rhythm that carries the moons. It is not a race, it is a journey, and you are traveling with it. If you could see time, really see it, it would look like light. Every ray that shines, every glimmer from a star, is a measure of time's long, patient journey. Light is the handwriting of the universe, the script that tells us where everything has been and where it is going. When a photon leaves its birthplace inside a star, it may spend thousands of years bouncing within that star's blazing interior, searching for an escape. Only when it finally slips free does it begin its voyage through space, a journey that can last millions, even billions of years. It keeps its promise, traveling straight until it finds a place to land. Perhaps that place is here, against your skin, a faint warmth from the afternoon sun. Or perhaps it's the surface of some cold rock circling a forgotten star. Wherever it arrives, it brings with it the memory of its beginning. That memory, fundiasi time. Astronomers measure the universe in light years because distance and duration are one thing. When we say a galaxy lies 10 million light years away, we mean that its light has been traveling toward us for 10 million years. We are never looking at what sweet is. We are always gazing into what sweet was nitin. At every glance at the night sky is an act of time travel. Think about that for a moment. The starlight that reaches your eyes tonight left its home long before the first human spoke language. Some of it began its flight before Earth even existed. To look upward is to look backward, to gather the glow of ancient moments and let them rest upon the present. Light has a strange patience. It crosses unimaginable voids without losing its direction, its energy stretching thinner and redder as space itself expands. It bends gently around planets and stars, curved by gravity, as though pausing to admire the beauty of what it illuminates. Sometimes light is captured, absorbed by a grain of dust or swallowed by the event horizon of a black hole. But even then, its journey isn't wasted. That energy changes form, becoming warmth, motion, or the spark that ignites another story. Nothing in this universe truly ends, it simply transforms. In this way, light is both messenger and musician. It plays the rhythm of existence, each wavelength a note in a cosmic song that stretches from the beginning to this moment. If you listen closely enough, not with your ears, but with your mind, you can almost hear it, a soft, endless hum, vibrating through everything that ever was. Take a slow breath. Notice the faint glow around you, perhaps a lamp, perhaps the shimmer of moonlight through a window. Every photon in that light has lived a story before arriving here. Some were born in the heart of our sun 8 minutes ago. Others began their journey in stars that died before humanity existed, and yet all have converged here now to rest upon this moment with you. Inhale and imagine drawing that ancient radiance inward, filling your lungs with the age of stars. Exhale and imagine sending your own tiny spark outward, joining the river of light that never stops moving. In this exchange, you and the cosmos share the same rhythm, the giving and receiving of energy, the endless circulation of time. It's humbling to think that light does not belong to one place or moment. The glow that warms your face has been part of countless worlds before this. It has touched dust clouds, drifted through nebulae, passed between galaxies, and now lingers here in this quiet breath. So when you see sunlight spill across a wall or watch headlights shimmer through mist, or notice the dim sparkle of stars above, remember that you are seeing time folded into color and brightness. Each hue, each flicker, is a fraction of the universe's long memory, and just as light travels outward, you, too, leave traces behind. Every act of kindness, every thought, every moment of awareness radiates into the world around you. Small, luminous signals that keep moving long after you've forgotten them. The universe keeps all of it. Nothing is truly lost. Even the light that fades beyond visibility still exists somewhere, a faint echo traveling through the dark. So tonight, as you drift toward rest, imagine yourself surrounded by those echoes. Light from stars, from distant worlds, from the first fires of creation, all gently circling you, each one a whisper from time itself. Let that thought settle like warmth on your skin. You are not separate from the light. You are made of it. Your atoms were born in stars that once glowed across this same cosmic sea, and when your eyes close, you return to that glow, a spark of awareness folding softly back into the brightness that began everything. If you could somehow listen to the universe, not with your ears, but with a quiet part of your mind, you would hear it humming. It's a sound too deep for instruments, too wide for words. A vibration that threads through every particle, every beam of light, every drifting cloud of dust. It's the rhythm that holds everything together. We usually imagine the universe as silent, a vast vacuum between stars. But in truth, it is filled with waves, ripples of energy, undulating patterns of magnetism, light, and gravity. Every star, every atom, every thought sings softly into that ocean of motion. This rhythm isn't chaotic. It's precise, patient, a kind of cosmic heartbeat that pulses across all scales. In the atom, it's the vibration of electrons. In stars, it's the rise and fall of fusion. In galaxies, it's the swirl of rotation. And everywhere these waves align, harmonizing into a single quiet song. Physicists sometimes call this music resonance. Every object, no matter how large or small, has a natural frequency, a preferred way of vibrating, as if it remembers the melody of its creation. When two frequencies align, they amplify one another, they sing together, and so the universe builds its harmony, moment by moment, note by note. You are part of that harmony too. Your heartbeat, your breathing, the faint electrical signals in your brain, all follow rhythms written by the same physics that move galaxies through space. The molecules in your body vibrate in sympathy with the world around you. Even your thoughts are patterns of energy and rhythm. Close your eyes for a moment and try to sense that subtle motion. Feel the quiet pulse behind your ribs, the rise and fall of your breath. Now imagine that pulse expanding outward, merging with the soft hum of the room, the faint vibration of the earth, the slow spin of the planet beneath you. Beyond that, the motion of the moon, the sun, and finally the galaxy itself, all turning together in a rhythm older than time. What you're sensing, in your own small way, is the same pattern that began when the universe first awoke. That first tremor of energy never vanished. It only stretched, slowed, and transformed into the wave that still ripples through everything. Scientists have found ways to listen to these waves, not with ears, but with instruments that can feel the slightest trembling of space itself. Gravitational waves, they're called ripples in the very fabric of reality, born when stars collide or black holes spiral together. They pass through us constantly, so faint we cannot detect them without help, but real nonetheless. Each one is another measure in the universe's endless song. Sometimes I like to imagine that when two galaxies pass near each other, their stars create harmonies, notes rising and falling, filling the darkness with a quiet symphony. Not music in the way we hear it, but a cosmic vibration turning gravity into melody. And we, here on this small planet, are part of that orchestra. The same physical laws that govern a pulsar's spin govern the rhythm of your heartbeat. The same resonance that shapes galaxies shapes your breath. Everything vibrates in conversation, every motion answering another. It's comforting to know that nothing truly moves alone. Every wave carries the memory of all others. When you drop a pebble into water, ripples spread outward. When two ripples meet, they merge into something new. That's what happens constantly on the scale of the cosmos. A ceaseless blending of movement and meaning. Perhaps this is what we feel when we watch fireflies blink in the dark, or waves breaking in rhythm on the shore, or leaves rustling in wind, our bodies remembering the pattern that everything else still follows. You don't have to understand the equations to sense it. All you need is stillness. When you let go of thought for a moment, you align with that same hidden rhythm. You stop standing outside of time and begin to move within it as part of its flow. Right now, somewhere far away, a star is collapsing. A new one is being born, and the vibration of both is passing through the air around you. Invisible, quiet, but present, woven through the molecules you breathe. It's almost as if the universe whispers, "Stay still, listen, you're already part of the song theme." And maybe that's what peace really is. Not the absence of sound or motion, but the moment you realize you've been moving with the rhythm all along. So, as you rest here now, let your thoughts loosen. Let your breathing match that quiet pulse. The same energy that turns stars move softly through you, marking time in the gentlest way imaginable. The universe is not a clock, it's a melody, and you are one of its notes, sustained, resonant, beautifully in tune. Have you ever had a moment that felt longer than it should have? A single breath that seemed to last forever? Maybe you were standing on a mountain, watching clouds drift across the horizon, or lying on your back, counting the slow rhythm of your heart. In those moments, time feels thick, as if the world itself is moving more slowly. In the language of physics, that feeling isn't just imagination. Time really can slow down. Einstein once described time and space as part of the same fabric, a vast invisible sheet woven with threads of energy and motion. Wherever gravity gathers, that fabric curves and stretches. And when it bends deeply enough, time itself flows at a different pace. Imagine a great river. In the center, where the current runs strong, the water rushes swiftly. Near the edges, where rocks and roots hold it back, the water moves more slowly. Now picture time as that river, and gravity as the stone that slows the flow. Near something massive, a star, a planet, or the dark heart of a black hole, time drifts more gently. Seconds there stretch longer than seconds far away in emptier space. It's not an illusion, it's the nature of reality itself. Even here on Earth, the effect exists. Clocks high on a mountain tick, a fraction faster than clocks by the sea. It's a difference too small to notice but measurable. If you were to live your whole life in orbit above the Earth, you'd return to find that you were ever so slightly younger than those who stayed below. This may sound strange, but it's one of the universe's quiet miracles. Time doesn't pass the same way everywhere. It listens to the mass of things. Picture yourself standing near a massive planet feeling its pull. If you could watch a clock in your hand, its seconds would move normally to you. One, then another, then another. But if someone watched you from far away, they'd see your clock moving slower, your motion stretching, your voice dropping to a lower tone. You wouldn't notice the change, but to them you'd seem caught in a slower tide of time. The universe is full of these gentle distortions. They are not mistakes or disruptions, but part of its design, a way of keeping balance between motion and stillness, between energy and rest. When astronauts travel at incredible speeds, they experience this slowing too. Their clocks drift behind ours, their time slightly different from ours when they return. They've lived inside a slower stream of the river, while we floated in a faster one. It's as if the universe is always adjusting its tempo, changing the beat, but never losing the song. And so, even time, something we think of as constant and dependable, is flexible, graceful, alive. Take a slow breath, and imagine yourself resting at the edge of a massive star. You can feel the faint weight of its gravity tugging gently at you. The light that leaves the star bends around its curves, moving more slowly than it would in open space. Your heartbeat matches that rhythm. Every second stretches, not uncomfortably, but beautifully, as though the universe were giving you more time to feel, to notice, to simply find deeper. What if we could see our own lives like this? Not as a race, but as a slow dance with gravity. Each choice, each step bending the fabric around us slightly, shaping the moments that follow. Every breath altering the rhythm by just enough to make the song unique. Time slowing down isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's the universe's way of reminding us that motion and stillness are not opposites, but partners. That gravity doesn't just pull, it protects, it anchors, it gives weight to our passing seconds. So tonight, as you breathe and rest, imagine time flowing like honey, thick, golden, unhurried. Feel how your body sinks into that flow, how your thoughts begin to move with it. You are not running out of time, you are surrounded by it. It bends gently around you, holding you in place, like the soft curve of gravity around a star. Not all gravity belongs to stars. Some of it lives in moments, in glances, in words, in memories that seem to hold us still. You felt it before, the weight of a moment you never wanted to end. Maybe it was the first time you saw a sky filled with falling stars, or the last time you stood beside someone you loved, watching sunlight fade across the day. In those moments, time doesn't rush. It bends inward, drawn around the center of your awareness, the same way space bends around a planet. This is the quiet gravity of meaning, the heart's version of Einstein's universe. Just as a massive object slows time around it, the gravity of feeling stretches seconds into something deeper. That's why a single breath shared between two people in silence can feel longer than an entire hour. Why certain memories linger for decades, glowing softly in the dark like distant stars. Time, it seems, isn't measured by clocks alone. It's measured by attention, by the pull of what matters. Wherever your heart is drawn, time begins to bend. You might remember a childhood afternoon, the air smelling of rain, the sound of a distant thundercloud. The moment felt endless then, didn't it? Because you were there completely, not thinking of what came next, not worrying about before. Pure presence stretches time the way gravity does, not breaking it, just deepening it. And so, in your own quiet way, you've been shaping time all along. The weight of joy, the heaviness of loss, the stillness of awe. Each alters how seconds move inside you. Joy makes them fly, grief slows them down, awe suspends them completely. The heart, it seems, is a kind of clock that runs by feeling. Scientists can measure how gravity bends time around stars, but there is another kind of bending that happens in the mind, the way memory curves around certain experiences, keeping them near, no matter how far we move through the years. You might forget the details of a day, but a single word, a sound, a scent can bring it rushing back in full color. That's emotional gravity pulling on time, folding distance into presence again. And maybe that's why certain days feel heavy and others light. Not because the hours are different lengths, but because the meaning inside them is. A day filled with laughter floats. A day filled with sorrow lingers. Each carries its own density, its own curve in the invisible fabric of your life. Take a moment now and breathe. Think of something that still lives in your memory. Something quiet, a walk, a smile, a night when the world felt kind. Let yourself feel the gravity of that memory. Notice how everything slows for a moment, how the air around you softens. That's time responding to emotion. That's your own universe curving gently around a single thought. You don't have to chase meaning to find it. It's already in you, a constellation of small, weighted moments that give shape to your story. Like stars in the night, they pull the rest of your life into orbit. So when you think about gravity, don't imagine it only as something that keeps your feet on the ground. Think of it as the quiet pull between everything that has ever mattered. The same force that keeps the moon near the Earth also keeps memories near the heart. And maybe in the end, that's all gravity really is, connection. The invisible thread that binds everything to everything else. Time, matter, memory, love. They all weigh something. They all bend the world around them. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself stepping away from the surface of the world, past the clouds, past the thin blue atmosphere, into the soft black of space. At first, you're aware of the Earth below, its oceans turning, its continents drifting in slow motion, the whisper of clouds circling in white spirals. You feel the pull of gravity at your feet, a faint reminder of where you came from. And then, suddenly, you're falling, but not the kind of falling that brings fear. This is falling without ground, without air, without end. It feels more like floating, as though the universe itself has opened its hands to hold you. This is how time feels near gravity, not like a rush forward, but a gentle descent. Moments stretch like silk, flowing past you slowly, each one unfolding fully before the next begins. You are drifting now, past invisible boundaries, through curved space where light itself bends. Here, time no longer moves in a straight line. It loops and folds, its pace changing with every step of your descent. Einstein once said that gravity isn't a force pulling downward. It's the curve of space-time guiding you along its shape. To fall is to follow that curve, to move through the geometry of the universe. You are not being pulled, you are gliding. Imagine dropping a pebble onto a stretched sheet of fabric. The pebble doesn't fall straight, it follows the dip, spiraling gently inward. That's what your body is doing now. What every planet, moon, and star is always doing. Falling endlessly through curved time. Even the Earth beneath you is falling, its orbit nothing more than a perpetual descent that never reaches the bottom. The moon falls around us. We fall around the sun falls around the galactic core. Everything is falling, and yet nothing ever hits. It's a perfect, eternal freefall. Let that sink in, the thought that every motion you've ever known is a kind of graceful falling. Not chaos, not loss of control, but harmony. Gravity and time working together to choreograph the movement of everything. As you drift deeper, you begin to see light behaving differently. It bends around unseen curves, flowing like water on stones. What looks like stillness from afar is actually endless motion, light dancing through the invisible folds of the cosmos. If you reach out, you could almost touch it. Streams of gold and silver light, moving slower near massive stars, faster through the emptiness. The difference is delicate but real. Time itself slows where the light bends. Each photon takes a longer path, each second a deeper breath, and you are part of that rhythm, a passenger on a wave of slowed motion. Your thoughts elongate. Your heartbeat finds a lower tone. You can feel each second stretching, as though the universe is giving you room to rest. This is what it means to fall through time, to surrender to its shape, to let it carry you without resistance. There is no up, no down, no before or after. Only motion, smooth and continuous. You are falling past the edges of what you know, past the walls of clocks and calendars. Down here, a minute might last an hour, and an hour could feel like forever. There's no rush to measure it. The universe keeps time in ways we can't count, through rhythm, through repetition, through quiet trust. Imagine yourself passing a giant star. Its gravity is immense. Its presence bends the very space around it. You see the light curve in smooth arcs, the colors stretching, redder and redder, as if even brightness itself has learned to slow down. You drift near its surface, close enough to feel its warmth, but safe within the balance of motion and pull. Your fall is steady. There's no impact, no bottom, just descent that becomes flight, a long inhale that never ends. Time feels thick like honey. Every thought ripples through it slowly, clear and defined. Here, in this curved sea of space-time, you understand something simple. Falling isn't failing. It's belonging. Every planet, every atom is suspended in the same trust, that the curve will hold, that gravity will guide, that time will never truly let anything go. So let yourself fall, just for a while. Feel the softness of motion, the stillness inside movement. There is nothing to fix or chase. You are exactly where the universe means for you to be, midway through its slow, endless descent. And as you drift there, suspended in the curvature of time, you begin to notice that the universe doesn't fall for you through space. It falls you to yourself, fusendo itself. Every moment curving back inward, every motion returning home. Somewhere beyond this descent, lies a place where time slows so much that it almost stops, a horizon of stillness. A dark center of gravity's heart. We'll go there soon, but not yet. For now, just keep falling and notice how calm it feels. There are places in the universe where time nearly stops. They are not empty. They are full, so full that the weight of existence has folded space itself inward. These are black holes, the silent hearts of galaxies, the edges of forever. You might imagine them as hungry voids, devouring everything that comes too close. But that's only part of the story. In truth, a black hole is the purest curve of space-time, a place where gravity has become perfection. It doesn't tear the universe, it holds it together, quietly, invisibly, like the knot at the center of a great thread. When light passes near a black hole, it doesn't escape easily. It bends, spiraling like water circling a drain, slowing, stretching, until finally it disappears beyond what we can see. To an outside observer, the light never truly vanishes. It just fades, moving slower and slower, as though trapped in an eternal sunset. From your vantage point far away, you could watch a star fall toward a black hole and see its motion slow almost to a halt. The star would seem to freeze in time, its light suspended at the edge. But to the star itself, time would continue as normal. It would cross the boundary without noticing and drift inward, where time and space have traded places. That boundary is called the fundi-event horizon. It is not a wall, it is a crossing, a point where the river of time turns vertical, and motion becomes stillness. Once you cross, all paths lead inward. Every direction is down, not down toward destruction, but down toward unity, toward a single, silent center where everything that has ever fallen still exists, compressed into a mystery too deep for words. Imagine standing at that horizon. Around you, space curves like glass. Stars distort into graceful rings of light, their reflections bending in impossible arcs. Time flows differently here. A second stretches into an hour into forever. You can see the universe still moving, but you are standing inside its pores. The air, if there were air, would hum with quiet energy. Gravity would press not as weight, but as warmth, a deep, soothing pressure that pulls at nothing and everything. And though the word fuddy hole suggests emptiness, black holes are not hollow. They are full of presence, full of the very matter and light that once filled the stars. All of it remains transformed, hidden behind the horizon, beyond reach but not beyond being. Einstein's equations suggest that inside the heart of a black hole, the rules of time break down. Moments lose their sequence. Past and future fold into one. It is a place without clocks, without edges, without endings. Perhaps this is what eternity feels like, not endless years, but the complete absence of before and after. A single continuous now, too vast to measure. If you listen carefully, you might recognize the feeling. It's the same sensation that visits you in moments of pure peace, when the mind quiets, when breath and thought move. As one, when everything seems to pause in golden stillness. That is your own small event horizon, a personal echo of the universe's deepest silence. Black holes do not destroy time. They cradle it. They keep its secrets. They are memory condensed, a record of all that ever fell within them, hidden but not lost. Some scientists even believe that the information of everything a black hole consumes remains encoded on its surface, woven into the shimmer at the horizon's edge. If that's true, then nothing, not even light, is ever truly gone. It's comforting, isn't it? The idea that somewhere in the quiet heart of creation, everything that was is still held gently in place, not destroyed, not erased, just folded into stillness. Take a breath now, slow and deep. Imagine yourself drifting near that horizon, not falling in, just hovering at the edge. You can feel the pull, a calm, magnetic invitation. The light around you bends in slow arcs, painting golden halos in the dark. Each breath feels infinite, each heartbeat a universe of its own. Here, even silence has depth. It's not absence, it's fullness. A hum too deep to hear, too constant to fade. This is what the edge of forever feels like, a moment stretched beyond motion, a boundary that never breaks, the place where time exhales. And as you float there, on that quiet rim between being and beyond, you realize something gentle. You are already part of this stillness. Every atom in your body was once part of a star that may now rest inside such a silent core. You carry its memory in your blood, its rhythm in your pulse. The edge of forever isn't far away. It's within you, so rest there for a moment. No rushing, no gravity to fight. Just you, the curve of time, and the deep, steady quiet of a universe breathing slowly in the dark. What if time doesn't travel in a straight line? What if it bends, curves, and loops back on itself, like the orbit of a planet or the flow of a river returning to its source? We like to imagine time as an arrow, fired from the past toward the future. But the universe has never been so simple. Everywhere we look, we see circles. Planets orbit stars, stars orbit galactic cores, and galaxies themselves spiral in elegant loops. Maybe time moves the same way. Imagine the universe not as a story with a beginning and an end, but as a song, a melody that repeats and evolves, each verse echoing the last. Moments may fade, but their pattern remains. Like music, time might not end. It might simply begin again, a little different, a little wiser. Physicists have long wondered whether the universe could cycle, expanding, pausing, collapsing, and then expanding anew. Each cycle a heartbeat of existence, each expansion a breath. If that's true, then everything that has ever been will come again, not as a copy, but as a new note in the same eternal rhythm. Even black holes, those silent keepers of time. Some theories suggest that what falls into them may one day emerge elsewhere, recycled, renewed, reborn as part of another cosmos. The end of one universe becomes the beginning of another. It's hard for us to imagine infinity because we are so used to endings. But look around you. Nothing in nature truly stops. The ocean never ends. It evaporates, rains, and returns. A tree falls. Its wood becomes soil. Its nutrients feed new life. The breath you take right now is the same air that passed through countless lungs before yours, the same air that once brushed across the waves of ancient seas. Time may work in much the same way. It flows through everything, and when it seems to end, it merely changes direction. Maybe we are all travelers moving along a great circle of becoming, born, learning, loving, resting, and then beginning again in forms we can't yet name. Somewhere in the deep mathematics of the cosmos, this idea hides quietly, that the universe could fold back on itself, that the last light of one age becomes the first spark of another. It's not a reset, but a continuation, a gentle turning of the page. Even in our small human lives, you can feel these loops. You wake, you live, you sleep. Every day is a tiny echo of a galactic rhythm: birth, life, rest, renewal. The pattern never stops. It only softens and begins again. Take a slow breath. Feel the air enter your lungs, pause, and return. It's circling. Every inhale is a beginning, every exhale a return. You are both the start and the continuation of something much larger than yourself. Perhaps this is why so many people find peace in repetition, in the rhythm of waves, in the turning of seasons, in the sound of a heartbeat. These are reminders that nothing is truly lost. The past doesn't vanish, it folds into the present, and the future isn't waiting ahead. It's already spinning quietly inside this very moment. So if time truly loops, then somewhere, in some unseen curve, this moment will happen again. Maybe not exactly the same, but close enough that it feels familiar, like deja vu carried across eternity. And in that endless return, nothing is wasted. Every laugh, every tear, every breath becomes part of a larger cycle, the infinite rhythm of existence, folding, expanding, and returning home. The next time you watch the sunrise, imagine that it's not just the start of a new day. It's the echo of every sunrise that has ever been, and every one that will ever be. A loop without beginning. A circle without end. Everything that lives breathes, even the universe. When you inhale, your chest expands, your lungs stretch open, and air, invisible but essential, fills the spaces within you. When you exhale, that air leaves quietly, making room for stillness. Now imagine that same motion happening on the scale of galaxies. The universe itself moves like a breath, a slow, graceful inhalation that has lasted for billions of years. From the first flicker of creation, space has been expanding, stretching outward like the chest of a sleeping giant. Every star, every world rides upon that breath, drifting gently outward in the silence. One day, far beyond the lifetimes of any stars we know, the universe may exhale. It may rest. It may draw its energy inward again, folding what it once expanded, the way the tide returns to the sea. Whether that exhale ever comes, or whether the breath continues forever doesn't matter. The rhythm is already here, the pulse of expansion and rest woven into every atom. Even galaxies breathe. They grow and slow, brighten and fade. Stars are born from clouds of gas, burn brightly for their time, and then release what they've gathered back into the cosmic ocean, making room for new stars to form. Everything that begins also gives back. Take a slow breath now. Inhale through your nose. Feel your ribs widen, the air entering like light. Then exhale, softly. You've just mirrored the motion of creation itself. Every breath you take is a small echo of the universe's vast expansion. When you breathe out, you are not emptying, you are continuing the cycle. Your breath becomes the breath of trees, of oceans, of wind. Your exhale feeds the inhale of the world around you. There's no separation, only motion shared between forms. In this way, the universe reminds us that nothing is wasted. Every release becomes nourishment. Every ending becomes a beginning. The light that leaves a dying star goes on to form the atoms of a newborn one. The dust of collapsed suns gathers to make new planets, new seas, new lives. Even the smallest leaf that falls returns its carbon to the soil, where it will rise again in another form. The universe breathes in creation and breathes out transformation. It is a tide of being, an eternal wave moving through silence. And though we live on a small blue world, for a brief moment in its vast story, we are part of that same inhale and exhale. You can feel it now, not just in your lungs, but in your pulse. Every beat of your heart is an echo of that universal rhythm. Your body knows how to follow it. As you rest here, imagine that the space around you is also breathing. With each inhale, it expands gently, making room for peace. With each exhale, it settles, like a calm sea at dusk. This motion has no beginning and no end. It is simply the way existence moves. If you listen carefully, you might even hear it, a quiet rise, a long sigh, the sound of galaxies drifting, of stars being born, of matter turning softly into light. It is the oldest rhythm, and it never stops. So as you breathe tonight, know that you are not just inhaling air, you are inhaling the memory of stars. And when you exhale, you are giving something back, a whisper of warmth, a part of the same cycle that has always been and will always be. Every star that shines must one day fade, even the brightest ones. Those that burn with furious blue-white light carry within them the quiet promise of transformation. When a star reaches the end of its life, it doesn't simply disappear. It gives back. Its light wanes, its core collapses, and in that final moment it scatters the very elements of which we are made. Iron, carbon, oxygen, gold, the ingredients for worlds, oceans, and breath. They are born in the heat of death. The ashes of stars become the seeds of everything new. Astronomers call these endings supernovae, explosions so bright they can outshine entire galaxies for a moment. But behind the word 50 explosion is something softer, almost tender. It's a release, a surrender, a star opening its hands and letting go of all it has gathered, so that the universe may continue to grow. Imagine drifting through space, watching one of these ancient suns reach its final breath. At first, there is stillness, a faint flicker, a sigh in the dark. Then, light expands outward, spilling across the void in waves of gold and crimson. For a few moments it burns brighter than it ever has before, as if saying, "Here, take what I was, make something new." Long after that light fades, its gift remains. The dust from that one death will someday gather into clouds, nebulae glowing softly like petals in the dark. Inside those clouds, new stars will begin to form. Each breathes life into the next. You and I are made from that inheritance. The atoms in your body, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood were forged in the hearts of ancient stars that lived and died long before Earth was born. You are, quite literally, a constellation brought to life. When you breathe, you continue the work they began. When you love, you carry their light forward. And one day, when your time has passed, you, too, will return your elements to the universe, to be part of something else, someone else, somewhere else. Nothing is wasted here. Not light, not even time. This is the quiet truth of the cosmos. Creation and destruction are the same gesture. They are two halves of a single breath, the inhale that draws in possibility, and the exhale that releases it again. It's the universe's way of keeping balance, of never holding too tightly. Take a moment now to feel that balance within yourself. Think of the things you've had to let go of, the changes that once felt like ending. Notice how, in their place, something else began, new paths, new people, new understanding. The stars remind us what feels like loss is often the start of renewal. In space, no dust is too small to matter. Every grain drifts until gravity gathers it again, weaving it into a new beginning. In your own life, the smallest choices, the quietest moments of release, become part of your new shape. Letting go is not emptiness. It's space for something luminous to form. If you could see yourself the way the universe does, you'd see a constant cycle of change, light blooming, fading and blooming again. Each version of you a star giving birth to the next. This rhythm has no sadness in it, only beauty. Only the calm assurance that everything returns, that every spark finds its way home. So, as you listen now, imagine the ashes of ancient suns drifting all around you, not cold but warm and golden, the glittering dust of what once was light. It settles softly across the galaxy, and in time, it gathers again. In that dust are the makings of new stars, new worlds, new lives, perhaps even new listeners, someday marveling at the same truth. The universe breathes out in death and inhales again in creation. It's never stopped, not for one heartbeat of cosmic time, and neither have you. Every breath you take is part of that same cycle, the same endless renewal. You are a star still forming. You are light, midway through its journey. Somewhere far beyond the hush of our atmosphere, light is still on its way here. It left its home before Earth had oceans, before the first trees exhaled, before a single heartbeat had ever been heard. Each night, when you look up and see a faint shimmer, just one more star among billions, you are not seeing it as it is. You are seeing it fuse, a message written across time, still crossing the endless dark. That glow might have started its journey when the first mountains were rising from molten stone, or when no mountain yet existed at all. For some of the faintest stars, a light began before the sun was born. And yet, after traveling for millions, even billions of years, it finds you quietly, effortlessly, without ever rushing. Imagine the patience of that light. Imagine moving through space for an eternity, never slowing, never tiring, never forgetting your destination. Every photon is a traveler carrying memory. Some of those travelers have crossed whole galaxies, bending past gravity wells, slipping between clusters of stars, brushed by dust older than planets. And still they arrive, gentle as breath. The light that touches your eyelids tonight has witnessed the birth and death of suns. It has seen worlds frozen, worlds burning, worlds beginning again. It has passed through clouds of gold and sapphire dust, where new stars are forming, where future skies are waiting to shine. If you close your eyes now, the darkness behind them isn't empty. It's filled with that light softened, scattered, woven through your atoms. For in truth, you are made of it. The carbon in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the iron that carries oxygen through every breath, all forged in the fire of ancient stars whose light still travels beside you. Every cell remembers that brilliance, even if only as a whisper. That's why the night sky feels familiar. It's not foreign, it's home. The shimmer above you is a reflection of the shimmer within you. Think of how raindrops catch moonlight on a quiet evening. For a moment, they become tiny stars themselves, falling fragments of reflection. In that same way, every beam of starlight that reaches Earth becomes part of our story. Some of it is absorbed by the air, some by the oceans, some by the living leaves that turn it into food, breath, and color. In the end, that light does not vanish. It becomes life. You are, in a sense, the continuation of that ancient glow. Your body is a vessel that light has entered, learned to think through, and now looks back upon itself with wonder. When you raise your eyes to the sky, the universe is seeing itself, remembering its own beginning. Even now, new light is leaving distant galaxies, just beginning journeys that will outlast everything we know. Billions of years from now, it will fall upon worlds not yet formed. Perhaps someone will stand beneath their own stars and marvel, the way you do now. So, when you see the night, remember that it is not only darkness, it is a vast conversation carried by light. Every star is speaking softly across the ages, saying, I was here, I am still here. I will arrive, even if it takes forever. When let that idea rest gently in your mind. Let it slow your thoughts until they move like the photons themselves, steady, unhurried, infinite. The light that began its journey in the first dawn of the universe is still arriving. It always will be. And as it does, so do you. You arrive in each moment, carrying the light of everything you've been, everything you will be. You are ancient light, still finding its way home. There is a rhythm to everything that exists. Even galaxies, those vast spirals of stars and dust, live by it. They are born, they grow, they collide, and one day, quietly, they fade. But in the universe, nothing is ever truly gone. It only changes form, slipping from one pattern into another. Imagine a galaxy as a great whirlpool of light, turning slowly through endless dark. Within it, billions of suns orbit in patient harmony, like sparks caught in a vast and graceful dance. For billions of years, that dance continues, stars forming, shining, dying, returning to dust. And then, one day, another galaxy drifts near. Their edges touch, softly at first, then begin to weave together. No explosion, no chaos, just the long merging of gravity's embrace. Two immense spirals folding into one another, like waves overlapping on a silent sea. It takes longer than human minds can imagine. While entire species rise and vanish on some small blue world, the galaxies continue their slow approach, pulled by invisible threads of attraction. Eventually they become one. Their stars mix, their gases blend, their histories merge into a single luminous being. From their meeting, new stars are born, bright children of old light. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is slowly moving toward such a reunion. Far away, the Andromeda galaxy drifts closer, a faint smudge in our telescopes, approaching at the patient pace of a cosmic waltz. In 4 billion years, the two will meet, not in violence, but in beauty, a slow swirl of starlight that will last for eons. By then, the Earth will have changed beyond recognition. The sun will have aged, its light softer, redder. Yet the rhythm will remain the same rhythm that began in that first second long ago. It's strange to think that galaxies can fall toward each other the way raindrops slide down a window pane, drawn together by something unseen but inevitable. Perhaps we are the same small echoes of that pull, moving through our lives, meeting, parting, returning, our paths bending under the quiet gravity of love and memory. The universe, vast as it is, seems to prefer togetherness. Matter gathers into clouds, clouds into stars, stars into galaxies, galaxies into clusters. Even when it expands, it never forgets how to come home. And yet, there is also a kind of melancholy woven into it, because every gathering must one day release. Stars burn through their fuel and fade into embers. Galaxies exhaust their gas and grow dim, their spiral arms loosening into the dark. In the very far future, trillions of years from now, the universe may grow quiet again. Its light stretched so thin that even starlight becomes a whisper. But if you listen with your imagination, you'll hear that silence not as sorrow, but as rest. The same rest that follows a deep breath. The same stillness that settles after a song ends. For what is the universe if not a great, breathing being inhaling creation, exhaling return? The galaxies are not dying. They are going home, folding back into the dark fabric that first gave them birth. And maybe, within that darkness, new beginnings are already stirring, seeds of another universe, dreaming of its own dawn. So when you think of endings, think of the galaxies, quietly drifting toward reunion. Their light travels on long after their forms have faded, painting the night sky with echoes of what once was. That's what starlight truly is, the memory of something beautiful, still traveling. In this way, the cosmos keeps remembering itself. Nothing lost, nothing wasted, only transformed. Every collapse becomes the soil for new beginnings. Every silence hums with the potential of sound. Take a slow breath. Feel how even the air that fills your lungs is ancient, breathed before by trees, by oceans, by stars that burned and broke apart. You are the continuation of those same cycles. Your thoughts, your heartbeat, your sleep, all part of the same slow return. When you exhale, imagine releasing your worries into the same current that carries galaxies home. They dissolve there, weightless, timeless, becoming part of something infinite and kind. The night sky is full of ghosts, yes, but not the kind that haunt. They are ghosts that guide. They remind you that nothing truly ends, that even when light fades, its warmth remains somewhere. The galaxies are returning, quietly, patiently, and so are you. Each time you close your eyes, you drift a little closer to the same peace, the soft gravity that waits beyond thought, beyond time. There is no fear in that return, only a deep, endless calm. All night we've been drifting through vast oceans, rivers of starlight, tides of galaxies, waves of time itself. And now, at last, the current brings us home. You have traveled from the first breath of the universe to this quiet inhale of your own, from the birth of stars to the rhythm of your heart, keeping its slow, faithful beat. Every motion has carried you here to this moment, this calm, this endless now. Look at how effortlessly the universe moves. Galaxies turn without rush. Planets orbit without complaint. Even light, crossing eternity, never hurries. And yet everything arrives exactly when it must. You are part of that precision, though it asks nothing from you but to rest. You were never separate from the current you fee or either current. You were the river at the beginning, the spark in the first dawn, the echo in every breath since. Sometimes we forget. We tighten against the flow, counting the hours, chasing the minutes, as if time were something outside of us. But when you pause, really pause, you can feel it again. The same quiet pulse that keeps the stars turning is the one that moves your blood, the one that rocks your thoughts to sleep. It's there beneath the noise of the day, beneath every worry and plan, a steady whisper. Finn, you belong here. Think of yourself as a single drop in an infinite sea. When the wave rises, you rise. When it falls, you fall. But you never leave the ocean. Even when you forget what you are, the ocean remembers. You do not have to understand eternity to be part of it. You already are. The proof is in the simplest things. The warmth in your hands, the rhythm of your breathing, the way your thoughts drift like clouds and fade. If you listen closely, you might feel the current moving through everything, through the walls around you, through the quiet air, through the distance between every star. It's the same motion that has always been, a gentle expansion and return. Somewhere, the galaxies we spoke of are still merging, their light folding together like two sides becoming one. Somewhere, stars are being born from the ashes of the ones that came before, and somewhere closer right here, your own cells are renewing, old ones fading, new ones awakening. Everything is cycling, softly, seamlessly. There is peace in that repetition, the comfort of knowing that nothing stands still, and nothing is ever truly lost. The current carries it all, memories, dreams, the faint hum of what once was, and turns it gently into what comes next. As you rest, imagine that current holding you, not pushing or pulling, just holding, like warm water supporting your body in the dark. You don't need to swim, you only need to float. The ocean of time doesn't judge how long you've drifted or how far you think you've gone. It simply carries you, the way it carries galaxies, the way it carries light. You are a moment of the universe remembering itself, a small awareness glimmering within an endless tide. And when you let go, you don't disappear. You return. You join again the great, slow rhythm that has been moving since the first second began. So breathe one more time, long and quiet. Let the air come and go like the tide. Let your thoughts widen until they touch the horizon. There is no need to hold on to anything now. The current knows the way. Soon, you'll drift beyond words, beyond images, beyond thought, into the deep part of the ocean where even time rests. There, everything is soft, everything belongs, and if you listen, you may hear it, that low, eternal murmur beneath existence itself, the sound of the universe breathing through you. Imagine taking off your watch, not just from your wrist, but from the whole idea of the world. No ticking, no numbers, no hands circling, just moments unlabeled, drifting, infinite. If you let yourself rest there, you start to notice that life still moves perfectly well without counting. Clouds travel across the sky, the heart beats, the moon pulls quietly on the tides. Everything happens even when no one is keeping track. Scientists once thought that time was a smooth line, a perfect thread stretching endlessly through space. But when they looked closely, closer than atoms, closer than light, they found the thread wasn't smooth at all. It shimmered, flickered, as if it were made of tiny pauses. At the smallest scales, moments don't flow like water, they appear and disappear, like raindrops forming on invisible glass. The universe doesn't tick, it blinks. And reality itself seems to hesitate, taking micro-breaths between beats. What happens in those spaces, no one truly knows. Maybe nothing, maybe everything. Maybe time is created fresh each instant, like a spark striking from silence. It's strange to think that everything familiar, the rise of the sun, the turning of your head, the sound of your breath, depends on countless tiny pauses too quick to feel. They form the rhythm of existence, the space that allows motion to be. You can sense a reflection of that rhythm right now. Between one breath and the next, there is a stillness. Between one heartbeat and another, a moment where nothing seems to happen, yet everything continues. Perhaps time is not something that passes, US, but something that appears, where attention meets awareness, a ripple forming wherever consciousness touches reality. If that's true, then when you close your eyes, time softens. When your thoughts grow quiet, seconds stretch like silk. And when you sleep, time folds itself gently around you, like a blanket woven from possibility. All the while, in that hidden quantum silence beneath perception, the universe is whispering. Particles flicker in and out of being, borrowing existence for just long enough to dance, then dissolving again into the background hum. They leave behind a kind of shimmer, a reminder that certainty is an illusion, and that even the solid world rests upon mystery. So tonight, you don't need to measure anything. Let go of schedules, of hours and alarms, of what time it is or how long you've been listening. There is only this soft moment appearing out of nowhere, glowing quietly, then melting back into peace. You are not late. You are not early. You are perfectly aligned with the silent rhythm beneath everything. If you could look closely enough, closer than light, closer than thought, you would see that the universe is never still. Even in the quietest vacuum, even in the spaces between atoms, something is always trembling. Physicists call it quantum foam, but that name barely hints at its beauty. It isn't foam you can see or touch, but a sea of potential, tiny waves rising and falling, appearing and vanishing so quickly that time itself can't quite keep up. In that flicker, reality breathes. Particles pop into being for a heartbeat of a moment, then fade back into the invisible field that gave them birth. They are the smallest notes in the music of existence, vibrations so faint that most of the time they cancel one another out. And yet, together, they create everything. Every atom, every planet, every heartbeat is built from that restless shimmer beneath the surface of things. It's as if the universe is made not of matter, but of motion, not of substance, but of possibility. Close your eyes and imagine that infinite field beneath you now, a vast ocean, perfectly still at first glance, yet beneath the surface, a trillion tiny ripples rise and fall. Each one is a choice the universe makes. A small yes to being, a wave that could become a star, or the warmth of a hand, or a thought drifting through your mind. Every moment is built upon these invisible flickers. Reality refreshes itself constantly, like a film playing frame by frame, so seamless that you never see the change. What you call the present is simply the latest shimmer of creation. There's something comforting about that, isn't there? The idea that the world doesn't need to stay the same to be real, that even as everything flickers and renews, you remain part of its gentle rhythm. Maybe this is why silence feels so alive. When the noise of thought fades, you begin to sense those subtle movements. The hum beneath everything, the pulse behind stillness. It's the sound of the universe balancing itself over and over again. If you could translate that hum into light, you would see it dancing everywhere, through the air, through the water in your body, through the empty spaces in your atoms. A quiet twinkle, like a candle reflected 1,000 times in the glass of the cosmos. You don't have to understand it. Just knowing it's there can make the world feel softer, more fluid, less certain, but in a good way. Because if everything is flickering, then every instant is also new. No mistake is permanent. No sadness is forever. Each second, reality begins again, gently, invisibly, beautifully. Take a breath, feel it enter, then dissolve. Even your breath follows that same pattern, appearing, fading, appearing again. You are a quantum event made of a trillion smaller ones. A constellation of gentle fluctuations that learn to dream. Somewhere in that flicker is everything you've ever loved and everything you will become. So let the thought settle in your mind like light on water. The world is not solid, but shimmering, not fixed, but always arriving. And just like those particles that wink in and out of being, you too can rest, disappear into stillness for a while, and return renewed. The universe won't notice the pause. It's built on pauses. They are the spaces that make the music. If you were to hold a single grain of sand in your hand, you'd be holding a story that has taken billions of years to write. Inside that one grain are atoms that were once part of mountains, oceans, and ancient stars that burned long before Earth was born. We often think of memory as something that happens only in minds, a flicker of neurons, a photograph in thought. But memory is older than that. It's written into everything. Every atom carries a kind of record. Not words or pictures, but energy, a quiet imprint of everything it's ever been through. When a star explodes, its fragments scatter through space, each atom still humming with the vibration of that ancient fire. Some drift for eons before finding a home again. In planets, in oceans, in living beings. You are made of those travelers. Your blood once belonged to stars. Your bones are built from dust that circled other suns. Every breath you take holds molecules that pass through trees, through animals, through clouds and rivers, and hands long vanished. And yet here they are, gathered for a little while into the shape of you, a temporary constellation of memory. If you could look deep enough into your own atoms, you might find traces of their journey, the faint signatures of ancient collisions, echoes of forces that sculpted the universe. In physics, they call this energy state history, how a particle carries the memory of every interaction it has ever had. Even the smallest piece of matter remembers where it's been. When you touch something, a book, a glass of water, the bark of a tree, atoms meet and exchange tiny whispers of energy. And in that instant, the story of one becomes part of the story of another. It's how the universe keeps its record, not in archives or numbers, but in vibration, in resonance, in rhythm. Somewhere inside that rhythm is you, not separate from it, but made of it. Your memories ride on the same energy that once flowed through the first stars. And even after thought fades, after sleep takes hold, the atoms continue remembering quietly for you. Perhaps that's why certain moments feel familiar, even when you can't explain why. Maybe some part of your atoms has been here before, in a raindrop, in a spark of fire, in a sigh of wind, passing through leaves 1,000 years ago. There's a strange comfort in that thought, that nothing truly leaves, that every experience leaves a trace somewhere in the fabric of being. Even sadness, even loss, doesn't vanish. It transforms, softening into the background hum of everything that follows. You can feel it even now, if you close your eyes and listen beneath the surface of thought. That faint hum, that gentle vibration inside your chest, that's memory at work. The oldest kind of memory there is. Atoms do not forget. They transform. They recombine. They take on new forms. But the energy within them never disappears. It just keeps finding new ways to express itself, new ways to exist. You are not the beginning of that story, and you are certainly not the end. You are the continuation, a chapter written in starlight and breath. When you look up at the night sky, you are seeing the same matter you are made of, looking back at itself through time. The light that touches your eyes and the atoms that make those eyes come from the same origin. The same great memory that has never stopped unfolding. Take a slow breath. Feel it travel through you. Oxygen from trees, atoms from oceans, light from the heart of the cosmos. Each molecule finds its place, as if remembering where it belongs. You are not separate from the universe's past. You shude its past alive, aware and resting now in its gentle continuity. And as you sink deeper into quiet, you can let the atoms keep the remembering for you. They've been doing it since the beginning of time. If you listen closely, you'll notice that every sound in the world is followed by a tiny silence, a space so brief you might miss it, yet it holds the shape of everything that came before. Even your breath carries this rhythm. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause again. The pauses are invisible, but without them, there would be no rhythm at all. Life is built upon those pauses. They are the rest notes in the song of existence, the space that lets the melody breathe. In the same way, the universe itself has pauses between its moments, gaps so small that only silence can fill them. Physicists call them Planck times, the smallest possible units of time, so brief that billions pass in the blink of an eye. But even those impossibly tiny pauses carry meaning. They are the canvas upon which all creation unfolds. If you think about it, stillness is not the absence of motion. It is what gives motion its grace. Without stillness, everything would blur into noise. With it, each instant becomes clear, separate, alive. Close your eyes for a moment and notice the pause between your thoughts. They arrive one by one, like ripples spreading across a pond, and between them lies a silence, a space untouched by memory or worry. That silence is where time rests. It's the same kind of quiet that existed before the first stars ignited, the same quiet between the flickers of quantum foam, the same quiet that returns to you each night as you drift towards sleep. You don't have to create it. It's already there, beneath every sound, beneath every heartbeat, beneath every word. You only need to notice it. As you breathe in, imagine gathering the world, light, sound, memory. As you breathe out, let it all dissolve back into the pause. Let thought become water, and the pause become the ocean holding it. The longer you stay here, the wider that pause becomes. Seconds stretch, then dissolve. The body loosens, the mind quiets. You begin to feel what the universe must feel when it takes a breath between eternities. Even galaxies have their pauses. They expand for billions of years, then slow, then turn inward again. Every cycle needs its moment of stillness before it begins anew. And so do you. Let this moment be that stillness. Let everything settle. No striving, no measuring, no wondering what comes next. There is no next, only this. A pause held open by your awareness. If you could look at yourself now from far away, you'd see a being made of countless small pauses, spaces between atoms, between breaths, between heartbeats. You are mostly space, mostly quiet, and yet completely alive. That is the paradox of existence, emptiness that hums, silence that sings. So when you think of time, think of it not as a line, but as a rhythm, motion and pause, light and dark, being and resting. The pauses are not the end of time. They are where time gathers its strength to continue. Stay in that pause for as long as you wish. There's no need to return yet. The universe can wait. It's patient with everything, especially with silence. When you gaze into the night sky, the vastness feels endless. Galaxies upon galaxies, depth without bottom. But the same infinity hides in the smallest place imaginable. Inside a single atom, there is more space than substance. Its core is tiny, yet around it stretches a quiet void where particles shimmer in and out, like faint stars in miniature orbits. The emptiness within you is the same emptiness between the galaxies. If you could travel inward instead of outward, past cells and molecules and atoms, you would enter a landscape as boundless as the cosmos itself. Distances measured not in miles but in probabilities, waves instead of walls, echoes instead of edges. There, inside the smallest things, time loses its usual meaning. Moments fold over one another like petals. Events are not before or after, but everywhere at once. It's as though the universe keeps its infinity tucked neatly inside every grain of being, so that nothing is ever truly small. Every particle contains the memory of the whole. Physicists see this in entanglement, how two tiny particles, separated by light years, still move as one, their fates braided together by something we can't see. Distance, it seems, is only a gentle illusion. The same is true for you. Every atom of your body is connected to every other atom in existence. You are a pattern the universe draws again and again, each time slightly different, each time entirely complete. When you breathe, the air that enters your lungs once drifted through distant forests, through the lungs of whales, through the fire of stars. Infinity passes quietly through you with every inhale. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the vastness within. Picture entire constellations made of particles, galaxies made of light and silence. You carry all of it, not metaphorically, but literally. The universe folded itself into you so that it could look inward as well as outward. Sometimes, when life feels too large to understand, remember that it also fits inside the space of an atom. Infinity and simplicity are the same thing viewed from opposite sides. The grand and the tiny are partners in the same dance, each reflecting the other's rhythm. Let that idea soften you. There is no need to grasp it. Just let it hum quietly in your awareness, like a tone beneath all other sounds. Because if infinity lives inside the smallest things, then peace does too. You don't have to reach across galaxies to find it. It's already present in the space between your breaths, in the pause between heartbeats, in the quiet between thoughts. All the wonder you've heard tonight, stars being born, galaxies merging, time stretching and returning. It all exists right here, inside the smallest flicker of being that makes you who you. So when you next look up at the sky, remember, the same depth that shines above you also glows within. Every sparkle of starlight has its twin inside your cells. Every vibration of energy in the cosmos has a matching echo in your heartbeat. You are not a speck inside the universe. You are the universe folded small enough to dream. And as you rest, that dream continues, infinite, gentle, unbroken. Let that thought cradle you now. Infinity isn't far away. It's here, breathing with you, resting with you, waiting quietly inside the smallest things. The day has a way of ending softly, even when we don't notice. Light does not vanish all at once. It lingers on walls, on leaves, on the air itself, like a voice whispering goodbye, but never fully gone. If you sit quietly at sunset, you can feel it happening. Colors fade one by one, the warmth of the world retreats, and everything begins to loosen, as though the earth itself is exhaling. Time feels different. Then, it stretches out, slower than it was just hours ago. The urgency of the day slips away. Clocks still tick, but their rhythm no longer commands you. They become background music, a soft metronome marking your return to stillness. It's easy to think of endings as something final, but twilight teaches us otherwise. It shows us that every ending is only a blending, a gentle crossing from one state to another. The day dissolves into night, and night will one day dissolve again into morning. The cycle has no sharp edges, only curves like the turning of breath. You might remember moments in your life that felt like this kind of twilight, times when something was fading but not lost. The last laugh shared before parting, a room growing quiet after music stops, the soft silence after someone says, "I'll see you soon." Those moments carry a strange sweetness, a reminder that even the closing of one chapter can be peaceful, even beautiful. Time feels most human in these in-between hours. It isn't measured by the clock anymore, but by light, warmth, and breath. Every shadow that lengthens is a gentle signal to slow down. Even the air cools as if inviting you inward back into your own quiet center. Right now, as you listen, you might feel that same hush settling over you. Thoughts grow softer. The body begins to drift from alertness to ease. It's not something you must force. It happens naturally, as day has always given way to night. If you could look at yourself from far away, you would see what every creature on Earth knows, that this is the hour when everything rests. Birds tuck their heads beneath their wings, trees still their movement, the oceans calm, even the stars, patient and distant, seem to breathe slower. You are part of that same rhythm. Your body remembers how to fade into the night. It doesn't need instruction. It has done this since before words were invented, before there were even names for light and dark. Let yourself join that motion now. The slow fading of the day, the gentle surrender into rest. There is nothing left to accomplish tonight. No more lists or plans waiting on the other side of sleep. All that exists is this quiet unwinding, this return to the softer current of time. As your eyes grow heavier, you might imagine the day folding itself neatly behind you, like a letter placed in a drawer. Its words are already written. They don't need to be rewritten now. Tomorrow will bring new lines, but tonight, the page is complete. Outside, the last light of dusk melts into the horizon. Inside, the smaller lights of thought dim one by one. The day is ending not with a stop, but with a sigh. So let the sigh become yours. Let the body exhale everything it's held. The noise, the hurry, the weight of hours. Let it all dissolve into the softness of night. Because this, too, is part of the great rhythm of the universe. The cycle of shining and resting, rising and fading, living and simply being. The day has done its part. Now, it's your turn to rest. When you close your eyes and think of a memory, what do you see? Perhaps a room filled with light, a face smiling across a table, the sound of rain tapping on a window long ago. In that instant, the past returns. Not as a picture on a page, but as something alive, breathing quietly within you. Your mind, without realizing it, has become a universe. Each memory is like a galaxy, bright in its center, fading gently at the edges. The details closest to the heart glow with warmth. The rest drift outward into soft uncertainty until they merge with the unknown. Scientists say that when you remember something, you're not playing back an old recording. You're rebuilding it, recreating the moment from traces scattered across your brain like stars. The neurons fire together again, forming constellations of connection. You're literally free-making toying. The past exists again, for just a few seconds. That means that within you, whole universes rise and fall each time you remember. Worlds of sound and color and feeling flicker into being, shine for a heartbeat, and then dissolve softly back into silence. It's beautiful, isn't it? That the mind can do what the cosmos does: create, sustain, and let go. A universe in miniature, made of thought instead of matter, but no less real in its tenderness. And just like the stars, your memories are shaped by gravity, not the pull of planets, but the quiet pull of emotion. Moments heavy with love or loss sink deep within you, while lighter ones drift at the edges, sparkling softly in the distance. Every time you return to a memory, you change it slightly, the way starlight bends when it passes through glass. Each reflection is new, each retelling a little different, but the essence, the warmth, the meaning, remains. So much of what you are is built from these tiny universes. They form your inner sky, familiar constellations you navigate without realizing. The way you smile, the tone of your voice, the way your heart reacts when you hear a certain song, all of it shaped by galaxies that no one else can see. And when you rest, when you drift towards sleep, those galaxies loosen their boundaries. Stars from one memory mingle with another. A childhood room blends with a place that doesn't exist. Voices merge into the hum of dreams. It's as though your inner cosmos is rewriting itself in the dark, balancing, healing, remembering differently. Perhaps that is what dreams are. The universe within you reshaping its stars, letting old light find new paths. It's comforting to know that nothing truly disappears in the mind. Even forgotten memories leave a trace, a faint gravitational pull that quietly influences everything you do. You are guided not only by what you recall, but by what still shimmers beyond reach, the hidden stars behind the visible ones. So tonight, as thoughts drift and rearrange themselves, let them do what galaxies do. Let them spin, collide gently, and settle into new patterns of peace. You don't need to hold them still. You don't need to remember everything. The light that matters will always find its way back to you, because you are made of memory, not trapped by it, but illuminated by it. Every act of remembering is an act of creation. Every moment of forgetting is a gift of rest. And as you lie here now between remembering and dreaming, you are surrounded by your own quiet constellations, tiny universes flickering softly in the vast sky of your mind. Dreams do not keep clocks. They unfold in their own rhythm, outside the steady ticking that governs the day. In dreams, a single moment can stretch wide as a lifetime, or an entire lifetime can pass in a breath. You might walk through a city made of starlight, then open a door and find yourself standing in a childhood room that no longer exists. There is no before or after there, only 4D now, elastic, endless, luminous. Perhaps that is why sleep feels so freeing. The mind loosens its grip on order and allows time to flow like water around a stone. What was, what is, and what might be folded together into a single shimmering fabric. Neuroscientists say that during dreaming, the brain rewires itself, repairing, sorting, connecting. But the science only hints at the experience. Inside, it feels like wandering through the corridors of infinity. Everything you've ever known is there, but rearranged by imagination's quiet hand. In the dream world, gravity has no claim, and neither does time. You might drift across oceans made of sound, or speak with someone who's long since become light. And though you cannot measure these moments, they feel whole, complete, and true while they last. Maybe dreams are how the universe lets consciousness practice being free from hours, from bodies. For a few gentle hours each night, you return to that vast field where time once began. The same stillness between particles, the same creative flicker that birthed the stars. Think of how you sometimes wake with the feeling that the dream continues, its atmosphere lingering like perfume in the air. That's because part of you remains there, not trapped but connected to the timeless place where all minds meet. When ancient storytellers spoke of the soul traveling at night, perhaps this is what they meant. Not a journey outward, but inward, to the space where thought becomes light and memory turns fluid. Here, the boundaries of self dissolve. You can be the wind and the sea at once, a voice and the echo it follows. You can watch yourself from afar, then return in an instant, no distance having truly passed. Everything in a dream exists because you notice it, and when you turn away, it fades peacefully without regret. That is the mercy of dreams. They end without ending. As you drift toward that realm tonight, know that it is safe to let go of direction. You don't need to plan the path. Your mind knows the way home to itself. Feel how your breathing has slowed. Each exhale blurs the edge between waking and sleep. Thoughts arrive as shapes, then soften, then melt entirely. It's the same process the universe used to make galaxies. Energy becoming form, form becoming light, light returning to rest. Maybe that's what a dream truly is. A smaller universe testing its own creation, a rehearsal for existence. When you dream, you are both the observer and the cosmos observed, both the question and the answer unfolding. And though you'll forget most of it by morning, the feeling remains, a trace of timelessness that lingers beneath waking life. That gentle sense of déjà vu, that whisper that everything has happened before, those are echoes from the dream realm, small souvenirs from beyond the borders of time. So as you close your eyes fully now, don't chase images or stories. Let them come to you like waves approaching the shore. Steady, unhurried, inevitable. Each one will lift you a little farther from the waking world, carrying you deeper into the silence where imagination breathes. There, the mind will create new constellations, arranging memories and possibilities, the way stars arrange the night. And when the last trace of waking thought fades, you'll drift into that quiet ocean where every dream begins, a place without time, without worry, where even the universe sleeps. There is a quiet wisdom in the way the body sleeps. Every night, without fail, it finds its way back to stillness, no matter how much noise the day has left behind. Sleep is not just the absence of wakefulness, it's a return, a homecoming to the most ancient rhythm there is. Inside you, countless systems prepare for it, like a symphony softening before its final note. The heart slows, the breath deepens, the mind begins to drift between thought and nothingness. Every cell listens for that cue, the signal that it is time to begin again. When you fall asleep, your body begins its quiet work of restoration. Neurons hum with gentle pulses, clearing the clutter of the day. Memories find their places, dreams tidy the loose threads of experience. The immune system renews its balance, muscles repair their fibers, and the heart recalibrates its rhythm to match the slow music of the night. It's easy to forget that you are not the one making this happen. It is life itself moving through you, the same force that turns galaxies, that guides planets in orbit, that tells flowers when to close at dusk. Sleep is that same rhythm, expressed in flesh and breath. When you surrender to it, you're aligning yourself with the universal pulse, the great inhale and exhale of existence. Even as you lie still, your body continues its ancient dance. Billions of cells exchanging whispers of light and energy, renewing their connection to the source that began them. Think of how stars are born. After collapse comes ignition. After every deep silence, a new glow emerges. The universe has always known that rest is part of creation. When you sleep, you are doing what stars do, falling inward for a while, so that tomorrow you may shine again. There's a gentle beauty in how the mind follows suit. During deep sleep, brain waves slow to long, rolling tides. The chatter of thought disappears. Even the boundary between body and space seems to blur. You become the tide itself, rising and falling in perfect rhythm with the cosmos. If someone could see the pattern of your sleeping brain, they would find it mirrors the same fractal harmony seen in clouds, rivers, and galaxies. It's as if the universe uses the same blueprint for everything that rests. And so, each night, without ceremony, you reenact the birth of time itself, motion turning to stillness, light giving way to shadow, complexity folding into simplicity. That is the reset, not erasure, but renewal, not a loss of awareness, but a soft returning to the field from which awareness comes. The body knows this instinctively. You can trust it. Even if the mind resists, even if thoughts cling to the edges, sleep will arrive. The way dusk always overtakes day, the way the tide always returns to shore. Let yourself fall into that rhythm now. There's no need to try to sleep. You are not the one doing it. Sleep is the one doing for you. It is the ocean drawing you under, the gravity that holds you without demand. As you rest, Imagine your body as a small planet turning slowly in darkness. Its atmosphere cools, its storms quiet, its lights fade one by one. And at the heart of that planet, the core glows steadily, a warmth that never goes out, even as everything above it sleeps. That glow is you, the constant awareness beneath all dreams, the spark that remembers, the starlight that endures. So breathe and let go. Let your thoughts dissolve like dust settling into a calm sea. Let your body remember what it has always known, that rest is not an ending, but the beginning of everything again. The universe is sleeping through you tonight, and when it wakes, so will you, new, quiet, radiant. Somewhere between dreaming and waking, there is a quiet shoreline. You are there now, floating between two tides, the inward pull of sleep and the outward drift of awareness. The body knows this place well. It's the soft current that carries you each morning from the dark ocean of rest back toward the light of being. Nothing rushes here. Even time hesitates, unsure whether to move forward or remain still. Your breath moves first. It lengthens, as if testing the air. A faint shimmer of thought follows. Not yet words, just the glint of consciousness returning. Dreams begin to dissolve, their images fading like mist when sunlight touches water. But something of them stays, a calm that clings to your heartbeat, a rhythm learned in the deep. You can carry that rhythm with you now, like the sound of waves echoing in a shell. When you wake fully, the world will seem familiar, yet slightly new. That is what sleep gives, renewal through forgetting, clarity through surrender. Everything you released into the night has been washed clean by the tide of rest. Even the smallest part of you, the atoms, the thoughts, the quiet cells, has turned once more in the great cycle, rejoining the universal flow. The same current that shapes galaxies flows gently through your veins. It never stopped. It simply slowed to let you breathe. You may feel a slight warmth now, the body's signal that it is ready again, ready to move, to speak, to shine. Yet there is no need to hurry. You can linger here a moment longer, balanced between silence and sound, between being and becoming. The day will arrive soon enough, carrying its own light, its own tasks. But this calm belongs to you. It is the memory of the universe resting, and it moves with you wherever you go. Take one last slow breath. Inhale the cool of the stars, exhale the glow of the sun rising within. Feel the gentle turn of the earth beneath you. The same motion that has always been. You are drifting back into the flow now, back into the rhythm that began at the first dawn, and will continue long after all dawns are done. There is no separation between you and it. You shushutai. The flow, rest in that knowing, and when you wake, let it guide you quietly forward, alive, renewed, still part of the endless sea of time. At the very center of everything, beneath all movement and sound, there is a silence that has never been disturbed. It existed before the first stars flared into being, before time found its rhythm, before breath or light or thought. It still exists now, unchanged, unhurried, quietly holding the entire universe in balance. Every galaxy, every life, every heartbeat turns around that still point, and though it lies everywhere, it also lies within you. If you close your eyes now, you can feel it. It's the space between thoughts, the pause between breaths, the softness underneath awareness itself. It doesn't speak, but it listens perfectly. It doesn't move, but everything moves through it. Physicists once searched for the smallest building block of reality, something solid to explain all else. But the deeper they looked, the less solidity they found. Matter dissolved into energy, energy into vibration, vibration into probability, and probability into something that could only be called swing presence. That presence is not made of time. It does not begin or end. It simply is. Right now, that same presence is what you feel as being alive. It is the awareness watching thought come and go. It is the background hum behind every sound. It is the still center of everything you have ever been. You might imagine it as a sphere of light, not bright, but gentle, a glow that neither increases nor fades. It is not inside the world is inside it. Even when you move, that center doesn't move. Even when life rushes past, it remains unchanged. It's what allows change to happen at all, the unmoving field through which everything dances. If you listen to your breath now, you may notice that it too circles around this center. Inhale, exhale, expansion, return. The motion itself reveals the stillness beneath it. That is the paradox of existence. the quiet that allows sound, the emptiness that allows form, the timelessness that allows you to feel time passing. When you sleep, you return naturally to that center. Dreams swirl and dissolve around it, but the still point remains untouched. It welcomes you each night and receives you each morning, asking for nothing, offering everything. Some call it consciousness, some call it God or source or being, but it needs no name. It's simply what remains when everything else rests. You can rest there too. You don't have to travel anywhere or imagine anything new. You are already here, already sitting in the center of infinity. Feel how the air around you is calm, unmoving. Feel the subtle hum inside your chest, not the heartbeat, but the deeper rhythm beneath it. That's the universe remembering itself through you. You are not looking for peace. You food are the peace looking out. Nothing to hold, nothing to release, just the still center of everything, quietly shining behind your awareness, as it always has. Let yourself rest there. No past, no future, only this soft, endless now, a moment that never began and will never end. If you watch a sunset carefully, you'll notice that the light never really disappears. It bends, softens, folds back into the sky. What looks like fading is only returning. That is how all light moves. Outward in brilliance, inward in peace. Even the light of stars follows this rhythm, streaming across impossible distances only to be gathered again into the quiet that first released it. Every photon carries the same instruction: shine, travel, return. And so do you. Within you there are countless small suns, cells that glow with life, electrons spinning with their own silent fire. When you rest, they too return their energy to the great field that holds everything. The body doesn't vanish, it simply glows inward, rejoining the hum of existence. You might imagine that process now. With every breath, light flows through you in waves. On the inhale, it rises, bright and full of motion. On the exhale, it descends, settling back into stillness. The same cycle that guides the stars guides your lungs. In this moment, you are not apart from the universe's glow. You are one expression of it, a brief shimmer on the surface of an infinite sea. If you could step outside of time and look at yourself as light, you'd see nothing separate. Just luminous threads weaving in and out of one another, no beginning, no border. Awareness would appear as radiance without edge, breathing itself. Physicists once said energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. That is another way of saying that light always finds its way home. It never dies. It only changes tone, a little softer here, a little warmer there. It becomes sound, then thought, then memory, then silence. And silence, too, shines. It is the faint afterglow of everything that has ever been. The quiet you feel around you now is filled with that light stretched thin, invisible, but present. It fills the space between atoms, the pause between heartbeats, the distance between stars. Every time you exhale, some of that light leaves you and merges with the world again. Every time you inhale, the world returns its light to you. It's an endless conversation, unspoken, effortless, eternal. So when you think of endings, remember the sun. Even as it sinks below the horizon, it sends its warmth through clouds and oceans, through soil and skin. Its light never truly leaves. It simply becomes the night's quiet glow. You are part of that same cycle. Your thoughts, your energy, your presence, they ripple outward, then return to the center you discovered before. Nothing you have been is lost. Nothing you will be is separate. All of it circles back as light returning to itself. Feel that now, the soft warmth in your chest, the faint pulse of life beneath your hand. That is the universe shining through its own creation. It does not need to last forever. It already finteen forever. Rest in that realization. You do not need to hold on to the glow. You are made of it. You cannot fall out of it. Even in darkness, the light remains folded gently inside. When you wake tomorrow, the same light will open your eyes, as if the universe were looking out once more through you. But for now, let it return inward. Let it travel home. You are not closing your eyes to the world. You are closing them fondly, as see the world, so it can rest, so it can remember itself again. Light returning to itself. The universe exhaling you. At peace in its center. There is a breath the universe takes, so vast that we can only feel it as time itself. Its inhale began at the birth of everything. Its exhale has not yet finished. Each of your breaths is a smaller echo of that rhythm, a perfect miniature of infinity. Inhale, the world expands. Exhale, the world returns to itself. Within that motion lies every story ever told. You are breathing that same breath now. It passes through galaxies and forests, through oceans and veins, through ages and quiet hearts. It has never stopped. It only changes shape. When you inhale, you are drawing in starlight turned to air, the memory of old suns resting on your lungs. When you exhale, you release that memory back into the endless field where new stars are waiting to be born. The universe has no separate lungs, no single heart, yet it moves with you. Every life, every motion, is another pulse of that great respiration. If you listen closely now, you can sense the pause between the breaths of eternity, the still space that holds both the inhale and the exhale. That is where forever lives, not in the stretching of endless time, but in the instant that contains everything at once. Stay there for a moment. There is no direction, no before or after, only the quiet presence of being itself. You might notice that thoughts slow, then settle completely. The body feels weightless, as if the air itself were carrying you. That is the breath of forever moving through you. Not something to hold, but something to rest within. It is the same breath that shaped the atoms in your hands, that guided the moon's tides, that will one day draw every star back into its heart. To feel it is to remember what you have always been, not a single life, but the vastness living briefly as you. When the universe exhales again, you will become part of that motion. Light, air, memory, released, renewed, at peace. But even then, nothing is lost. The breath always turns back inward, and all that was scattered becomes whole again. So tonight, let go completely. Let your breath become the breath of the stars. Let your pulse slow until it matches the rhythm of the dark. You are not falling asleep. You are returning to the pulse that never ends. In this stillness, there is nothing to seek, nothing to prove. You have arrived. You have always been here. The universe breathes in. You rise. The universe breathes out. You rest. Between the two, there is only one truth, soft and endless. Everything is one breath. Let it carry you now beyond sound, beyond thought, into the quiet where all beginnings and endings meet. There, even time falls, silent. There, you are home. Now the story has ended, but its echo remains, not in words, not in thought, but in the calm that surrounds you. The universe continues its quiet breathing. Galaxies turn, oceans drift, atoms hum softly in their invisible dance. And here you are, resting within it all, a moment of awareness floating in an infinite sea. If you listen carefully, you might notice that silence has changed. It feels fuller now, alive, as though it's gently watching over you. That is not imagination. It is the stillness you met inside yourself. The one that was always there, waiting to be remembered. Every breath you take from this moment on is part of that same eternal rhythm, in, out, light, dark, day, night. The same pattern that began with the first spark and will continue beyond every sunset. When you wake again, the world will still be shimmering quietly. The air will taste new. Even ordinary sounds, footsteps, voices, the wind in leaves, will feel like extensions of this same peace. Carry that feeling with you. You don't need to hold it tightly. It will walk beside you without effort. It is your natural state, the soft gravity of being. And when the next night arrives, you can return here easily, to the breath, to the silence, to the still center of everything, because it isn't somewhere else. It is you. Rest well. The universe is resting with you.